And we are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I'm not sure where to start. First of all, we got this brand new BRICS currency that could potentially sink the value of the US dollar. That's pretty important news. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Also, the Tennessee lawmakers, 2 of the 3 who were up for expulsion got expelled. Some say it's racism, some say it's XYZ. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, I spoke about this on the last stream, but we got to get a little bit more into it. The founder of Cash App got deleted right on the streets of San Francisco. Bystanders saw him and nobody wanted to help. I have video of that. I might be able to play it. It's not too graphic, but you're able to see kind of what's going on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, shout out to Riley Gaines, a former NCAA swimmer who competed against your man Leah Thomas. She went to the belly of the beast in San Fran, right where your man got deleted, at a university. And of course, you know what the outcome was. We'll talk about that in a minute. Canada wants to ban protests of LGBTQ, LMNOP, X, Y, and Z spaces, specifically drag shows that cater to children. I wonder why they want to ban protests of those. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. I'm going to say the best internets anywhere in the audience. I'm getting myself confused. But you guys are the best. If you like what you're hearing thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got a whole lot going on. There is a whole lot happening, and we're going to get into it. But first, y'all know how I do. First, you guys, please subscribe to patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information anywhere on these internets. The link for them will be in the description box, or just go to patriotpost.us and your internet's browser right now. Subscribe to them. Tell them ABO sent you. Again, they are the best source of news and information anywhere on these internets. A lot of you guys are asking, where's the video? Where's everything else? We're going to get to all these different topics in a minute. Y'all please hang tight. And also go to my merch website, ablmerch.com. That is ablmerch.com. Link, of course, will be in the box. You can Google ABL merch. You can just go straight to the link. Everything you need merch related will be right there on the website. Y'all please check it out. Also, go to my regular website, anthonyblogan.com. Excuse me, I got to get some water right here. That is anthonyblogan.com, ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Link, as always, will be in the description box. When you go to the front page of my website, you'll be able to see articles that correlate to each video that I produce. So if you ever ask, hey, where'd you get that stat? Where'd you get that video? Where'd you get that source? All your questions shall be answered by visiting the articles that I write for each video right there on the website, anthonyblogan.com. And that's my website. I pay for it. Ain't no outside people trying to tell me what to do on it, so I could do whatever I want on there. As long as it's legal and I won't go to the penitentiary for posting it, I will post it right there on my website. For example, if there's a video that for some reason YouTube won't allow, they want to censor, they want me to block it out, oh, it's a copyright strike, oh, it's too violent, oh, whatever, it'll go right there on the website with no problem. Again, anthonyblogan.com, ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGN.com. Also, go to anthonyblogan.com/contact for all my contact information. That includes my email address, my snail mail address, my social media accounts. Everything will be right there on anthonyblogan.com/contact. My Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also email address, snail mail address right there. If you are wondering if you're being contacted by me and it's kind of sketchy, first of all, it probably is sketchy. Second of all, all my contact info will be right there on the website. So if there's a strange email saying that they're ABL contacting you and you go to the website and the emails don't match, that's your first clue right there. Okay. And also, if you comment on one of my videos, I know I always say this, y'all please bear with me because we got new viewers in the building. Wave to everybody that's here. But if you comment on one of my videos and then someone who looks like me comments to your comment and it's something like, hey, contact me on WhatsApp, contact me on X, Y, and Z random platform, that's not me. I will never reply to your comment talking about contact me. If you want to contact me, you can through the website. Everything's right there. You don't need to be looking in the YouTube comment, texting some sketchy number, going on WhatsApp, talking about Bitcoin and WhatsApp and Forex. I know nothing about any of that. Okay. You asking me about that is like asking a snail to identify craters on the moon. It's not going to be able to happen. So please don't get scammed in this year, 2023. Ain't nobody got no time for that. You're about to hit a really bad recession if we're not in one already. So I want you to save every single dollar. If you get scammed, I can't help you. Don't even be talking about, hey, I got scammed. What am I to do? I'm not a bank. I'm not nothing. So y'all please just protect yourselves out there. If you know anybody that may be experiencing some kind of scam or something like that, please talk to them. Okay. If you work retail and there's some pawpaw up there with a bunch of iTunes gift cards looking frantic and scared, please call the police and get this man some help. Do not let him get those gift cards. All right. So y'all please just stay cool out there. We got quite a few topics on deck for the night. I am not a Nigerian, huh? Stewie, PID, you say I'm Nigerian. I'm not Nigerian. I'm not that scammer either, huh? We are not a scammer. I'm from Edo State. I have money. I'm not that Nigerian scammer, huh? Anyway, thank y'all for being here. We got a whole lot cracking tonight. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. I don't even know where to start. I have videos, actually. I got quite a few videos. Y'all know how I do. I always keep a bunch of videos in the tuck because I'm always on social media looking for things that are happening, things, the news, Dutton report. You know what? Here's actually a good story. Here is a good story that I think I want to put out. Y'all give me a second. This is going to be a pretty decent story. Hold on one second. Okie dokie. So we're going to talk about Riley Gaines. Now, Riley Gaines is an NCAA swimmer, or was. She graduated from Kentucky. Now, matter of fact, hold on. This is actually perfect. Perfect. She competed against Leah Thomas. Now, you know, Leah Thomas was this big Michael Phelps, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool looking character that competed against women in the NCAA swimming. For years, this man, biological XY male, competed with the men over at UPenn. In the senior year, William Thomas became, quote unquote, Leah Thomas and competed against the women. He went from basically a nobody, an underperforming person at UPenn, bottom of the barrel, pretty much a nobody, to all of a sudden he became a champion. I wonder why. I wonder what advantages being a 6'3" biological male with this big giant neck and shoulders and hands. I wonder what advantage that gives you over these women who probably average about 5'3", 5'4", 125 pounds, 140 pounds, maybe soaking wet. This guy over here is 6'3", probably 195 pounds, muscular. I don't care about no hormones or nothing like that. I don't care about your little long hair looking like Bret the Hitman Hart. Okay, I'm not really interested in that. Obviously, there's a difference. Just because you feel a certain way does not mean that you are that way. If you want to identify as a woman, that's your business. But I don't think it's fair. As a matter of fact, I know it's not fair for you to compete against women. So this is obviously on the left, quote unquote, Leah Thomas. On the right, that is Riley Gaines. Now, Riley Gaines said that she was not treated very well by the NCAA. I'm going to get into the whole thing about her going to San Francisco State University and having a mob of LGBTQ activists descend upon her. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But first, we got to show a story about what happened to her while she was still in college, while this character popped on the scene into the women's space. All right. Let's play this video. Actually, there's two videos. Let's play the first one, then there's one more. All right. You're going to hear her story. Let's get a little bit of sound. I've not played this yet on any videos on my channel, but this is a really good story.
We were not forewarned in any capacity that we would be sharing a locker room. And so the swimming locker room, it's not necessarily a place of modesty. You've grown up swimming, especially when you're at the elite level that we were. You put these suits on that are like skin tight. It takes like 15 minutes to put these suits on. So it's a process to which, of course, you have to be undressed. But as a girl growing up in that environment, you become okay with being vulnerable in that situation because everyone there is in the same situation. And it's a place of chatter. You get to see your friends from all over the country who you haven't seen in so long. And so I was in the locker room, obviously putting my suit on, and all of a sudden it got dead silent. I turn around, this person's towering over every other person in the locker room, drops the clothes.
Do you see this? And look at this. Look at this though. I mean, like seriously. Hold on. Let me just come back. This is ridiculous. Let's continue.
Full male. Like,
hold on. I'm gonna start it because I kind of interrupted. Sorry about that. Let me just start it a little bit before that so you get the full context.
Turn around, country who you haven't seen in so long. And so I was in the locker room, obviously putting my suit on, and all of a sudden it got dead silent. I turn around, this person's towering over every other person in the locker room, drops the clothes, full male. Like, a fully intact male with male genitalia, and almost subconsciously you just cover. Like, it's just a subconscious inherent feeling when you see a male with male parts watching you undress. It was like, I thought I was missing something. I thought, am I like not grasping something? Why is no one talking about this?
So, I mean, you heard that. That's the first part of the video. Now imagine you are a woman. You have been swimming for a long time. You've been accustomed to being in a vulnerable state of undress. You have no clothes on. You put in your swimsuit on. It's a process. It takes a long time. It's okay because you're around other women. There's no male in there. Now, when the male comes in there and he has full male parts, now it's danger. Now we got a problem subconsciously, even if, of course, you know, you're going to see what's going on consciously, but subconsciously you're like, yo, this is not right. This is not okay. I'm not consenting to this. It's okay when it's just us girls in here, but now we got a guy in here. Now we have a problem. Now, what does the NCAA do? How did they address her concerns? We'll see that in the next clip.
Surely the NCAA wouldn't let this person compete with us, but of course, that's not what we saw. And so that first day at our NCAA championships, we all sat on the sidelines as Leah Thomas became the fastest female in the country, winning a national title in the 500 freestyle.
Look at this. You gonna tell me this is a woman? I mean, like, I don't understand how anybody can think that this makes sense. It defies logic.
So, beating out Olympians, American record holders, the fastest females of all time. And that next day was when Leah and I raced each other, and we swam the 200 freestyle, and crazily enough, we tied. So
now, please pay attention. Now, what you just heard was after that infamous photo of Leah Thomas, quote unquote, William Thomas, whatever his name is. After the infamous photo of him winning a championship trophy, whatever that was, then you had the two girls out beside him. The one girl that was kind of like in a more feminine pose. The other girl had on her Texas Longhorns stuff, didn't look too happy. The day after that was another race where William competed against Riley Gaines. They tied. Like, at the end of the race, they had the exact same time down to the millisecond. So if you have two winners, what happens? What should be the case when there's one winner? You take the photo with the trophy, do all that kind of stuff. So if there's two winners, what happens? Are there two trophies, two photos, one trophy with both in the photo? What is the result? Y'all let me know what you think should happen in this instance. Let's, aside from the whole thing being ridiculous, what should happen if people tie and they both come in first? Let's hear it.
So when we went the exact same time down to the 100th of a second, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
And so upon tying, I go behind the awards podium where they give you these like dinky little trophies and they parade you out. But the NCAA official looks at me and says, "Great job, y'all tied. The trophy goes to Leah.
What?
We'll eventually mail you yours." And so I kind of look at him and I quickly question him and I'm like, okay, I understand there's one trophy, don't account for ties, but what's your thought process on giving it to Leah? Why are you so adamant? And he said, well, for photo purposes, Leah has to have it.
Wow.
So you heard that. It's like, look, okay, it's one trophy and the trophy got to go to the biological male. And then Riley's like, hey, well, why is that the case? Why are you so adamant about that? Like, I understand there's only one trophy, but why does he get it? And he's like, well, look, for the pictures, for the optics, we got to just drive this whole LGBTQ thing home. The NCAA told her that. They told her, quite frankly, they're pushing the LGBTQ narrative. Now, how would you feel if you were in that situation? You're already at a disadvantage competing against a man and you're a woman. And then when you tie this man, he still gets recognition over you because of the fact that he's a man, and we got to do the whole photo op and we got to push the narrative. And then, you know, people on the left say, oh, you guys, you conservatives are just, you're exaggerating. You think there's an agenda against you. There's no agenda against you. If there's no agenda against us, I can't tell. That right there was pretty obvious what's going on. There's a clear agenda against regular heterosexual people in favor of the LGBTQ extremists. It's clear. It's clear. If there's one picture, if there's one trophy, you take the picture with both people. Aside from the fact that William shouldn't be there, aside from that, if he is there and there's a tie, one picture, both holding the trophy, not just giving it to one person. You give it to Leah, William, whatever, to push a narrative. Very simple. All right. So now fast forward. Riley, the woman in the clip, the woman I was talking about being cheated by the NCAA, she goes to San Fran State University and she was attempting to give a speech, give a talk, and then things went really bad. You guys may have seen the video already, but we are going to get into it. Hold on. Matter of fact, let's play the news clip right quick and throw it on the screen.
Former elite college swimmer says that she was ambushed and physically hit by trans rights protesters after speaking at San Francisco State University. Riley Gaines posted video on Twitter last night saying she was confronted by a trans rights activist. Gaines is a former competitor of controversial trans swimmer Leah Thomas. Gaines says police escorted her to safety and that she was forced to barricade for 3 hours in a classroom. The university says police did not make any arrests.
So, like, hey, this picture right here, this video, what is still from a video. I think this is Riley Gaines holding a camera, filming what's going on. You see, she was in the classroom giving the talk, and the activists, protesters, rioters, insurrectionists, whatever you want to call them. I'll talk about that whole word in a minute, insurrection versus riot, protest, peaceful protest or whatever. She was escorted out of the room by, I think it might have been 1 or 2 officers, and then they got her to a classroom that was empty because they could not get her to the exit. And then when they were trying to get her to the exit, it became kind of a hostage situation. Now, the people that were there most certainly should have been arrested, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Arrest, but that it is conducting an investigation. The attack happened after Gaines spoke last night to students at a Turning Point USA event at SF State. She says she is not against transgender athletes competing, but believes they have an unfair advantage in women's athletics, and there should be more dialogue about how to make athletics more inclusive.
And you know what? You know what you never see when you're talking about this whole trans stuff? Trans athletes. You never see trans men competing against biological men. I've met a trans man before who was clearly a woman. You know, at a certain point, it's like people want us to buy into their mental illness. It's like, I know women when I see it. I've seen some bulldaggers. You know, it's always weird when these people present themselves when they're like the spokesperson. It's like an obvious situation, okay? Like this character right here. I'm going to put him on the screen. before I get to the whole Riley Gaines hostage video, which again, anybody that was involved with that should be going to the penitentiary. All right. So check it out. All right. So this character right here, here's the caption says, Sophie Rebecca, former rally driver. So what you, a race car driver? What you, Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Like, what is going on? Evel Knievel? What's happening? Sophie Rebecca, a former rally driver and IT tech, was the first trans woman to pass exams at the Royal Ballet Academy, which changed its rules in 2013 to allow trans women in. Sophie is 6'3". Sophie is my size. I'm 6'3", 220. Like, this guy is my size. This is ridiculous. Like, when you see me, I am very clearly a male. There's no getting around it. I'm usually the tallest guy in the room because most people are not really above 6 foot in the world. It's not that common to be tall as I am. I'm usually the tallest guy in the room and the biggest guy in the room. And this guy's my size. Okay. I knew from a young age, it's just what he says. I knew from a young age that I was trapped in the wrong body. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Why do they always show the most obvious male people? Okay, your neck is 1 foot long. You are 5'8" without your neck. Your neck makes you about 6'10". This is crazy. Okay, why they always got to do that? It's because they're trying to make. You know what? Here's my opinion. They're trying to make the absurd become normal. So when you see an obvious male, you won't think it's a male right away. Oh, I can't assume it's gender. You will see Paul Bunyan. You will see The Undertaker from WWF, 1989. You will see Hollywood Hulk Hogan, 6'6", leg drop. You will see that person and say, oh, are they male? I really don't know. They're trying to push the absurdity to make you accept things that are not as absurd. So when you see a Blair White, you would think it's a woman and not really question. Okay, because Blair White almost looks passable. You still got this big blocky jaw. You still got the jaw's like really that jaw is like you got a jaw looks like this cell phone right here. You got a Samsung Galaxy square type jaw. You got a SpongeBob SquarePants size jaw. All right. So I'm not totally convinced, but it's a little bit more passable than the 6'3" Dale Earnhardt Jr. lookalike. You understand what I'm saying? You looking like you drive pickup trucks and race cars at the same time. In the daytime, you drive the pickups. When you get off of work, you go to the dirt track and drive rally cars. That's what's going on. But I digress. I'm getting triggered. Let me go to the video of the hostage taking and the insurrection at the school where Riley Gaines was. Hold on. Let me just get some video right here. So this, at this point, was when the speech got interrupted. You saw the earlier clip. She was in the classroom giving the talk. This is where the so-called protesters swarmed up to the room and then were trying to get her out and I guess attack her. She did get attacked by somebody. There was a man, a biological man, that actually hit her. And you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna say more after we watch the video. So they were in the classroom, turn the lights off, all type of weird stuff going on. And this is where the officers are trying to rush her out. I don't want to play the audio here because there's a bunch of cussing and stuff. But you see at the end of the hallway, there's an exit, but the so-called protesters are blocking the exit. So she can't leave out of the exit. They had to take a turn into a classroom where she was barricaded for some hours until they were able to get the whole situation clear and clear out the hostage situation. See, at the very end of the hallway, they're blocking the hallway. So they had to go over there and make sure she was like up against this classroom and keep her safe that way. It was a mess. It was a crazy mess. Now, let me see if I can find the actual hostage situation, because that was a crazy video as well. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And you got to hear what these kids are saying, what these adults are saying. I don't want to say kids. I don't want to give them that kind of benefit because you're talking about college students. You're talking about adults for the most part. There may be some people that are under the age of 18 here, but these are pretty much adults. They're young adults, but they're still adults regardless of what. If you can go fight and die in the military, you should be held accountable for your actions when you do things like hold a hostage. Do you know that in Virginia, you can be tried as an adult at the age of 14? I'll say that one more time. You could be tried as an adult in Virginia at the age of 14. So if you are a college student and you take a hostage, you should be held accountable. You should be going to prison. You should be at least getting tried for what you do. There should be some charges here. Like, you got to hear what they say, and then you just understand what I'm talking about. Let me put the video on the screen.
What we're hoping to do is to keep things peaceful and
make her lose her flight
and move.
So at this moment right here, you see this little hallway over there? That's where Riley Gaines wound up being. There's a classroom at the end of the hallway, and she's barricaded inside the classroom. And all these students and people are out here blocking her ability to get out. They're blocking the exits. They're blocking all of this. So she was in that classroom for 3 hours barricaded while they're trying to clear this whole hostage situation out.
And move forward, okay? Tell her to pay us. Tell her to pay us and then she could go.
Did you hear that? Tell her to pay us, then she can go. So if that's not, taking the hostage, I don't know what is. That sounds like a ransom, doesn't it? Again, get these guys up under the penitentiary.
$2 each.
Imagine if you had the people that quote unquote stormed the Capitol in DC. Imagine if they went into one of the house, like Nancy Pelosi. Like, what if they cornered Nancy Pelosi in the room and then the police get there and then they're trying to talk to him? First of all, wouldn't be no talking. Wouldn't be no talking. You want to hold Nancy Pelosi hostage? Ain't gonna be no talking. They're gonna just go ahead and shoot first, ask questions last. But let's just say they try to talk to you, and then you say, well, hey, if she pays us, then we'll move. Man, all y'all going to the penitentiary. You got guys locked up in solitary confinement, no trial, for doing nothing. Brandon Strzok from Walkaway Movement, the founder of that movement, he was locked up. He didn't even go inside the Capitol. He was just outside giving the speech. So if you're outside the Capitol giving the speech, not involved in any kind of violence at all, not inciting violence at all, just giving the regular, everyday, normal speech, and you get locked up, your whole life could turn upside down for doing something like that. Imagine what would happen if you try to take a Nancy Pelosi hostage and say, give me some cash, then we'll let her go. You would never say, like, you will never come home again. You be up under the penitentiary somewhere in Colorado. You be making clay into clay pots, because there ain't going to be no rocks that deep underground. You're going to be in the clay cavern somewhere.
Because you might get paid for this shit, so we could get paid for it too.
On a public campus that we attend.
So what's the end goal here? We're cooperating, so what's next?
So they need to do their job and get her out there. We created a path. It's here.
I can't speak to all of you when we're over talking to each other. We're not going to hear each other.
Don't let her hold.
They know. You don't have to use. There's a difference.
So yeah, I mean, this is the kid glove handling of people in San Francisco. They can pretty much do whatever they want. And these are going to be the future people that go and riot for Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and everything else. You have an Antifa factory, a Black Lives Matter factory, a Democratic rabble-rouser factory, and you probably paying a bunch of money at the same time. So as far as the government is concerned, it's a win-win. It's like, look, we're the government. We are trying to become basically one big Democratic party. And you know what we're going to do? Whenever there's a thing that needs to be done politically, we're going to activate these people that we already have trained at our colleges. They are ours because we fund them from federal dollars. So we're going to fund these schools with federal dollars, turn them into foot soldiers for our particular political interests. And when we got to activate, all we got to do is put something on TV, some black guy gets shot, killed by police, or he dies from a drug overdose. We're going to blow that up. We're going to activate the chip in their brain that was already pretty much installed from K through 12 in college. And at the same time, we made a bunch of money off of the whole situation. We didn't even have to pay them to get trained. They paid us. They're in debt by 6 figures. So it's like they're kind of like indentured servants in a way. We creating brand new slaves. It's deep, but it is what it is. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. But shout out to Riley Gaines for going to San Fran, right in the belly of the beast, and attempting to speak to these cretins, because you know you're in a dangerous place. You know you're in an unwelcoming place. And if anybody was there that was able to receive her message, and it wasn't a message of hate, it's a matter of, hey, this is unfair. If you want to be transgender, you should compete either with your biological gender or with a new category. If you want something like that, I would say personally, because ain't no point in wasting a bunch of money, because really, you know what the whole thing is. These guys just want to compete against the women. You got a lot of guys that just want to be around women when they are undressing. Okay. You got these guys that just want to be around women while they're undressing. They don't really care too much about the athletics part. Then you have guys that want to be Juwanna Man. If you ever seen that movie, they just want to be able to dominate the women where they were subpar at best as men. So you have that, like I said, you don't see the trans men, biological XXs, going to compete against the XY, talking about, yeah, I'm as good as you. Okay, you're 5'4", 135 pounds. Here comes LeBron James, 6'8", 275 pounds, as nimble as a deer, running right over your forehead. What you gonna do about that? Not a thing. Not one thing. You're not gonna be able to handle it. Okay? And, you know, a good example of the difference between men and women, Angel Reese, you know, the NCAA basketball player who did all this stuff here, she is considered like a big player. She's 6'3". Okay. She is known for getting block shots and rebounds. She's a very tall presence in women's sports, right? But Steph Curry is 6'3". Steph Curry appears to be a little guy out on the court. They're the same size. Actually, Steph is bigger than her, much bigger than her, because he's physically bigger, but he appears to be small. We're not the same. You guys know that. I'm preaching to the choir, so I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, you know what to do. Please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got quite a few topics on deck, and I'm going to keep on rocking and rolling. Speaking of insurrection, speaking of these young people that do things and don't get held accountable, or they should be held accountable, let's just talk about what happened in Tennessee. Now, y'all know I live in Tennessee. I got some phone calls about this because I'm right here. You know, I'm not going to reveal any private conversation I had about anybody. I won't say anything about that. I'll just tell you what I know from reading and observing what's happening. Now, in Tennessee, there was an insurrection. Also in Kentucky, at their capital in Frankfort, Kentucky. Now, the insurrection in Tennessee was about gun rights. Well, pardon me, not about gun rights. It was about gun control. It's a difference. If it was about gun rights, meaning the ability to access more guns, if there was an insurrection about that, it would not be labeled a quote unquote peaceful protest as it's been labeled right now. Barack Obama said, oh, peaceful protest. Joe Biden said peaceful protest. That is a narrative from the mainstream media. Oh, it was peaceful. There was no problem, all this and that, and the third. However, the intention of these so-called protesters was to overthrow the legislature, to barge in on legislature and stop it. That was the whole purpose of the so-called protest. Now, that sounds very similar to January 6th. And if it wasn't an insurrection, then neither was J6. Now, some are going to say, well, it wasn't as bad as J6. The severity of the insurrection is irrelevant. You could have the extreme of an insurrection where you have the government literally overthrown. You can have people that are actually in government that get deleted. That didn't happen. Obviously, nobody on that side, nobody in government got deleted. It was only the one person on the side of the so-called insurrectionists. If we're going to call January 6th an insurrection, the severity of it doesn't matter. All that matters is the intention, the setting, and the people. It's a protest. It got out of hand at a Capitol building. Federal government in Tennessee, protests got out of hand. State government. It's the exact same thing. And if it's not, then we can't call J6 an insurrection. Either we call both peaceful protests or just protests in general, or we call both insurrections. There ain't no in between. But I digress. So that happened in Nashville because people wanted more gun control. Now, like I was going to say a little while ago, if it was about gun rights, if they were there doing the exact same actions, whether it was severe or not severe, doing the exact same actions for gun rights, for Second Amendment rights, for access to more guns, then it'd have been a call to insurrection by the entire media. Oh, it's insurrection. That's what it was. Call it what it is. Lock them up. Solitary confinement. All this, that, and the third. Again, as I said from a little while ago, Brandon Strzok, the founder of the Walkaway movement, got his whole life turned upside down, sent to the penitentiary, sent to the court, all these lawyer fees. He wasn't even inside the building. He was not even inside the building. He was outside the entire time. So how is he being charged with any kind of crime? How is he being charged with anything relating to a so-called insurrection when he wasn't even involved? If I'm outside talking, how am I at fault? If I'm not inciting, how am I in fault? Anyway, so you had that happened in the Tennessee capital in Nashville. And then also there was an insurrection in Kentucky at Frankfort, at their capital, for trans rights, because Kentucky wants to pass a bill, or it may have already been passed. Or I think what happened was a bill was passed through the House of Kentucky, and their Democratic governor, Andy Beshear, vetoed it. So then there was a meeting to overthrow his veto, to override the governor's veto. And that meeting, that's when there was another insurrection. Now, these events happen at like the same time, like a couple hours apart. And Nashville and Frankfurt are not that far from each other, probably about 3 hours, maybe, not that far. You're talking about bordering states. They're not that far. It's a straight shot from Nashville. Nashville is like central Tennessee, and Kentucky is like kind of, it shares equal borders to the west and the east, if that makes any sense. You understand what I'm saying? It's like kind of like Colorado and Wyoming, if I'm saying that right, where you have a square and then a square right on top of that. That's kind of how Kentucky and Tennessee are, although they're both very long states. But anyway, I digress. The point is that it's like a straight shot from the capital of both states. I feel like some of the same guys were at both. Professional protesters, agitators, professional rioters, Antifa, or whatever you want to call them. They were out there protesting because of the so-called anti-trans bill that says you can't have children become transgender. Now, I don't know how we've gotten so far so quickly. Maybe about 5 years ago, having trans kids would be unheard of. It'd be unheard of. It'd be like, what? You want to have transgender children? How does a child that's 5 years old know anything about that at all? They're still trying to, when I was 5 years old, I was still trying to play with toys. I had my, my Power Range, and, I had just toys. I'm just being a little boy, running around outside playing Nintendo, Super Nintendo. That was my thing. Transgender? So yes, there should be a bill to ban that. Not only are they too young to even understand what's going on, I saw a study out of Sweden where they had been doing this for a very long time, the old minor transition. And then they found out when you're giving children puberty blockers or hormone blockers, it's not just about trying to make them more feminine when they are a male or more masculine when they're a female. You're talking about you're interrupting their development physically. You see, a baby in the womb develops very quickly and very, very obviously. You go from a very, very, very tiny baby, up into a bigger baby in the womb. It's a more dramatic process when you see from the beginning, from conception up until 9 months, up until the baby's born. But there are still things happening when the child is born. There's still growth. There's still development. And when you interrupt certain processes that happen throughout this time, when you try to change things, when you try to medicate things, when you interrupt, when you put vaccinations and stuff like that, that can really alter somebody's entire trajectory. And what I'm getting at is, in Sweden, they did a study over this, over 30 years. And a lot of girls' spines were not fusing properly. So you were creating like hunchbacks because they couldn't, their back, the spine wasn't fusing properly, so they just kind of hunched over. A lot of them die early because they were not allowed the ability to develop normally. You interrupted it with drugs. You put drugs in their body. You might as well put them on fentanyl or something like that, and then see how well they develop as a result. You know, it's a thing called crack babies and things of that nature. When a child has a mother hooked on drugs, and then the baby is born hooked on drugs, fentanyl, crack, whatever it is, they're going to have problems. The same way if you put a 5-year-old on puberty blockers, they're not done developing yet. They're not done with the whole process yet. That's going to really affect them up until they get to be an adult, and they probably won't live very long. So the bill about the, preventing trans children from being treated like that, the bill from preventing children from becoming quote unquote trans is right, but yet they were out there protesting. Anyway, going back to Tennessee, I know I got way off track. I got deep in that rabbit hole. Now I got to get out. So I got to find my way to the exit. Anyway, yeah, they're messing up entire generations of children, generations of people with this stuff. I see that right there. Shout out to you, Legacy X. But let me get back to the thing in Tennessee. So as a result of the insurrection, you had 3 lawmakers up for suspension. You had Justin Jones, I think his name is. I don't want to get his name wrong. Y'all give me a second. I think his name, I know Justin Pearson is from Memphis. The other Justin is from Nashville. And then you had Gloria Johnson from Knoxville. Okay, let me get it right here. Yeah, Pearson, Memphis, Jones, Nashville, and Gloria Johnson, Knoxville. Now, both Jetsons are black. Okay, now one guy is kind of suspect. Look, y'all know that I'm gonna just say pretty much what's on my mind. I'm not really I don't really hold my tongue too well. I'm gonna just say what's on my mind. I'm gonna show you a picture of this guy, and you just tell me what you think. Okay. Now, this guy says he is black. Now, I'm not the race police. I'm not a guy that, claims to know everything about everybody. But I feel like there's something funny going on here. Hold on. Now, this guy says he's black. I don't know about that, man. You're looking like Tekashi 6ix9ine right now. You're looking like TJ Hushmanzada. Where's your mom and dad from? Iran? Iraq? Like, what's happening? Mexico? Guadalajara? Mexico City? Oaxaca? What's going on? I can't really tell what's happening. I'm tired of this whole blackfishing thing. I'm tired of people that are not even black using the whole black thing to their political advantage. I hate it. It's so whack. Race is... The whole argument about race gets on my nerves, but especially when guys who are not even black pretend like this. That hair right there, I've never seen nobody black with that kind of hair before in my life. Maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe I don't know anything, but y'all just let me know. Okay, I've been black for a long time. Y'all could tell I've been black for a long time. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. So I don't know what's going on. Somebody says, y'all got all kind of stuff. Blasian, Samoan, Blaxican, Nicaragua, Chinese, Filipino. Yeah, Filipino, definitely. Yeah, exactly. NKM, Talcum X, Rachel Dolezal, all these people that Pocahontas using race to their advantage, lying about it. I hate that stuff. Okay. So am I racist right now? Listen. I'm not racist. I'm just questioning this guy's authenticity here. If you're talking about all this black stuff, and the reason why I show this picture is because the narrative is the media is saying that these 2 guys were expelled because they're black. Is he even black? I can't tell. How are you going to spin this narrative about people being suspended because they're black or expelled because they're black when one guy, I can't tell what he is. I don't know what race that is. He's not black. Mixed at best. Biracial at best. Okay, a halfling at best. All right. Now here's the other guy, Justin Pearson. Now he appears to be black. I'm not going to question him. All right. He appears to have all the black stuff going on. You got this 1964 civil rights movement afro going on. Okay. I think it's done on purpose. This guy, you're going to hear him speak. Now, I got a tweet that's kind of going viral right now. People are offended, but I'm going to play that right now. I'm going to show you my tweet, and then I'm going to play what he said. A lot of you guys have already seen my video. You guys have already heard it, but I'm going to play it for you one more time so you kind of get what's going on here. And if you like what you're hearing so far, I know what to do. Please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Oh, and before I play that, I got to show you guys a picture. Jason Whitlock had a really funny caption to this. He was like, "This is Black Twitter." I was dying laughing. I was dying laughing. This is a great representation of what Black Twitter is. Black social media. You got this one guy in the front who's questionable at best, a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 black folks, and then a bunch of white liberals supporting them. That's pretty much what Black Twitter is. And y'all prove me wrong. I'm no racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a hater. I'm just pointing out the obvious. And the reason why I'm mentioning race is because, again, the narrative is that these 2 guys were expelled from the house and she wasn't. You guys see who I'm talking about, right? The guy in the center with the tan Barack Obama game show host, door-to-door used vacuum salesman suit on. He's right there front and center. And then Martin Luther Nerd is right there next to him. Okay. Malcolm LGBT is right there next to him on his left. And then you have their soccer mom, Gloria Johnson, on the right-hand side. They're saying that they were expelled from the house because they're black and she didn't because she's white. When in reality, there was a vote. You got to get 2/3 of the house to vote to the affirmative to expel anybody from the house. They had enough votes. She missed a vote by 1. There was only one vote difference between her being expelled and not. So let's just stop the cap, as the cool kids say. Let me come back so we can play the clip so you can see my tweet as well. It is going up like Donald Trump at this moment. Let's check it out. So here's what I said, right? I was like, yo, this ain't 1960. People don't speak like this anymore. And then, when I put it out at first and before it went viral, before it got real popular, people were like, yeah, people were laughing because they know, that's like how Malcolm X would talk, how MLK would talk. And this is not typical to hear. You don't hear this kind of talk normally. But I knew a lot of your white liberals, a lot of your pro-wax, a lot of them would eat it up because they live in the past. They live in the 1960s. It's like, yo, we're in 2023. People don't talk like this anymore. And then I get the, well, actually, ABL, and they talk like that all the time in church. It's like, man, this ain't church, though. This is the State House in the Tennessee National Capital. People don't speak like this normally. When you turn on your C-SPAN and whatnot, they don't talk like they are a civil rights leader from 1958. But let me go ahead and just play it.
Yes, I tell you, it was a sad day on Saturday. All hope seemed to be lost. Representatives were thrown out of the State House. Democracy seemed to be at its end. Seemed like the NRA and gun lobbyists might win. But oh, that was good news for us. I don't know how long this Saturday in the state of Tennessee might last. But oh, we have good news, folks. We've got good news that Sunday always comes. Resurrection is a promise, and it is a prophecy. It's a prophecy that came out of the cotton fields. It's a prophecy that came out of the lynching tree. It's a prophecy that still lives in each and every one of us in order to make the state of Tennessee the place that it ought to be. And so I've still got hope because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
Out of order.
Then, got to do the Black Power fist. It's like, sir, this is 2023. You got expelled for inciting the insurrection that happened on the grounds of the state capitol. That's why you got expelled from the house. That's why. Not none of this, blackity black pro-whack stuff you're talking about. Yeah, word salad, fake. Like, We know what's going on. We can see it. You guys, myself, we can see what's happening. It's all fake. It's word salad. It's bogus, fugazi, whatever kind of word you want to use to describe it. It doesn't really hit home. It does not resonate with me because I know that it's not realistic.
Out of order. We're voting on House Resolution 6.
So there he is right there with his both fists up. Okay, so that's your man right there. All right. So cringe. So cringe. I have more video. I gotta show you the slam poetry from the other guy, from TJ Hushmanzada, with the Barack Obama game show host suit on, the tan suit, right? Like you about to sell me an Oric vacuum cleaner for like $1,000 to straight door to my door. But hold on. So here's something. Now check it out. Here's a DM somebody got. Do not harass this person or anybody else. This person, Mandy Hale, says, I work in real estate, and this is a real message received today from an out-of-state buyer. Great work, Tennessee GOP. Way to make Tennessee a national disgrace. And then the DM says, hi, Amanda. Thank you for reaching out. But due to the recent political climate regarding lawmakers of color being expelled, we are no longer considering moving to the state of Tennessee. Now, check it out. Watch this, though. Watch this. I am glad. Stay in California. Matter of fact, don't come to Tennessee. Nah. Stay in California. Stay in Arizona. Stay in your, wasteland, wherever you made it at, where people just go outside and doo-doo on the ground for fun. You stay over there. How about that? Enjoy your 13.3% state tax that we don't have in Tennessee. Enjoy your ridiculous cost of living. Enjoy your out-of-control crime. No gun rights. 10 rounds in the magazine. Enjoy that over in California. Don't come to Tennessee. How about that? If you're triggered about that, then this ain't the place for you. Yeah, we're really racist. We're really bad. If you're black, you're pretty much going to be put on the tree any moment. I'm in danger right now. I'm literally shaking in my room right now. I'm literally shaking, okay? My front door is never locked. My car door is unlocked. I ain't tripping, but guess what? I'm literally shaking right now. I have no state income tax. Tax time is beautiful, right? Tax time is great. Ain't no state income tax. I'm chilling. But don't come here because it's too racist. It's too violent. It's just too much, okay? So, hey, it's all good. Don't even worry about it. I'm not offended. I'm not mad. I'm not triggered. I'm not sad. I feel good, okay? If that's going to be a deterrent from the Californians coming here in droves, then it's fine because that's a trend. The Californians are coming all the way out of Tennessee rather than just going to Arizona and polluting that state. Same thing with Texas, trying to turn Texas blue for some reason. Rather than just staying there, they want to come all the way over here. It's like, man, we don't want that. Leave your palm trees and your LGBTQ elemental peace stuff over there. Leave that over there. Leave the sand from the desert in 1,000-degree temperatures over there. Leave the earthquakes over there. But hey, if you live out there in California, my heart goes out to you. I know it's rough. I know it's hard to be conservative out there right now. So my heart goes out to you guys in California. So shout out to all the California conservatives. My heart is with you. But to all the liberals, stay over there. Hey, you made the bed, lie in it. You made the bed, lie in it. Don't come to our state and disrupt our bed. Okay, don't bring your bed bugs in our bed. Keep them over there. Anyway, but people are really offended. They're really triggered about this. I'm like, for what though? Like, what is the reason? It's so silly. And I gotta find your other guy with the slam poetry. Y'all please give me a second. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. Exactly, LB. They're home in California. They're home there. So stay there. That's totally fine. I'm not tripping. I support the rights of those that don't want to come to Tennessee to stay wherever they are. So if you're living in Los Angeles and you got two crackheads that live in your backyard, you can't do nothing about it. You call the police, they won't do anything. If you got two crackheads that pitch their tent in your front lawn and they do whatever they want to do all hours of the night, hey man, enjoy. Enjoy. We don't do that over here. We all got guns and we're prepared to go ahead and utilize our weapons to defend ourselves. Hold on. Now, Here's your other man right here with the Barack Obama suit on, with the, Morgan Freeman, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? No offense to nobody out there that's a Christian. You know what I'm talking about when Morgan Freeman played Jesus in the movie? Anyway, I digress. Watch this right here.
Mr. Speaker, how can you bring dishonor to an already dishonorable house? How can you bring disorder to a house that is out of order, where the speaker refuses to let representatives elected to speak for their people even be heard? How do you bring dishonor and disorder to a chamber that does not follow decorum, due process, constitutional rights, or the rules that they enact themselves? There is no equal application of law or rules as we see in this chamber, as we saw today. But it depends on who you know. It depends on if you have a certain letter by your name. It depends on if you have the supermajority. Does not sound like democracy to me, Mr. Speaker.
I mean, that right there. Now, what does that sound like to you? That sound like slam poetry. It's like you got to like you got to say afterwards. That's pretty much what's going on. Yeah, that slam poetry. That ain't really that ain't really it. Okay, hold on. Can I show you guys an example of slam poetry that might have? Hold on. I don't know this guy. I've not seen him anywhere before, but I just want to see it. This is what I'm talking about.
My world is so digital that I have forgotten what that feels like. It used to be hard to connect when friends formed cliques, but it's even more difficult to connect now that cliques form friends.
That is the vibe I was getting. It's like, sir, okay, I can understand if it's amateur night, the Apollo Theater, New York City or something like that, and you want to get a few bars off doing your slam poetry, but you're in the state capital in Nashville. Why am I hearing slam poetry right now? What is going on? Like, what part of the game is that? Since when did elected officials get into the art of slam poetry right there in the State House? That doesn't make any sense to me. This guy right here is on YouTube doing it somewhere in some podunk little spot in New York. Okay, cool. Good money. That's where you're supposed to do it at, but not right there on the steps of the Capitol. So yeah, shout out to him. I mean, I have no idea who that guy was, but I could tell by the vibe that it'll be very similar to what you just saw. You put them side by side, it'll be the same thing. If this guy that you just saw with the tan suit, with the Barack Obama suit on, studied slam poetry on YouTube, I would not be surprised. I'd be like, yep, I see where you got that cadence from, right there on the YouTubes. Michael Esparza says chicks dig that. Hey, they might, if she likes that, she might have all the tattoos in the world right there on her face. She might have teardrop tattoos like she didn't kill somebody when I put it on her face. But anyway, I'll move on. If you like what you're hearing so far, I know what to do. Please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, speaking about California, San Francisco, we got to talk about the founder of Cash App being stabbed and killed right there on the street. Now, this is crazy. And you know what? This kind of goes into what I was just talking about moving away from California, moving all the way across the country, not just to Arizona, not just to Idaho or like somewhere else on the left coast, not just to Texas. They're coming to Tennessee. They're coming to Atlanta, Georgia. They're coming all the way to Florida, to Miami, Florida. And as a matter of fact, the Cash App founder, Bob Lee, 43 years old, had a wife and two small children, two daughters. Well, they weren't really small. They were just young. I think one of them might have been like closer to 10 or 11. But anyway, I digress. The point is that he had a family, a wife and kids. He moved from San Fran to Miami because he said that the city was deteriorating. He said that. That's the reason why he left San Fran. But unfortunately, he went back for a conference. I think he also had some kind of Bitcoin company. We're talking more about Bitcoin and digital currency in a minute as well. Everything kind of ties together, right? You got Bitcoin going on. But anyway, so he was visiting San Fran for the conference and stayed a few days later to visit friends and family. Well, unfortunately, he was outside about 2:30 a.m. in a very nice neighborhood in the Rincon Hill neighborhood. You guys may know about that if you're living out there in San Fran or in the Bay Area, or you've been in San Francisco. He's out there probably just hanging out with friends, coming home from a club or a bar or somewhere, a restaurant, who knows? I'm not sure why he was outside that late at night. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's a nice neighborhood. And he gets killed by somebody. He got stabbed just a couple times right there on the street. Now, after he's stabbed, he makes a frantic phone call to 911. He tries to go to a car that was parked in the street that had their hazard lights on, that had people inside, and they ignored him. They just drove off. And when they drove off, he fell off of the vehicle, collapsed right there on the street. Police get there in about 6 minutes, but by that time, he was unconscious, and he dies in the hospital a short time later. 43 years old, had a wife and kids. And again, he had left San Francisco because the city was deteriorating. He goes back to visit. He goes for a conference, visiting friends and family, and he gets killed right there on the street, right in a very nice neighborhood. And this is what I was talking about before in the previous video. A lot of your liberals, they move to, I'm getting ahead of myself. A lot of liberals don't really care about the crime in the city because they think that it's isolated in a low income area. They think the solution is to get a lot of these liberals in office to give more handouts, more freebies, gun control, because they don't understand what's really going on in the streets. They don't really get it because they don't have to live it. It's segmented in their mind for the most part, and it usually is. It's like the crime was over there. It's not going to affect me. I live in a nice neighborhood. I live in the wealthy area. We have security, private security even. We got police out here. They're not going to do anything to us. This is why, what was that? Alyssa Milano or somebody was a big proponent of defunding the police out there in Los Angeles. Okay. She lives up in the hills. And when she saw some young boy in their backyard with an airsoft or a BB gun hunting squirrels, she calls the police and the entire town's police force shows up. You got K9, helicopter, ambulance, amber lamps, police, all of that show up. Fire truck, all of that show up to her house. Okay. So she wants her home to be fortified with the utmost security, but she thinks that the lower income areas have a problem with too much policing. She thinks that a liberal policy and very liberal solutions would change it, but it doesn't. It makes it worse and it spreads. And they don't figure that out until it spreads right to their door. Your man, Bob Lee, was one of those guys because there was a tweet he was talking about just that very same thing. That very same thing from back in the day. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the tweet. And, you know, I'm not trying to highlight this tweet to shame him. I'm just saying this is the mindset they have. Okay. Matter of fact, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So check it out. Oops. Now, he says this back in 2019. Shout out to Hotep Jesus. He was responding to him. So he says, ignoring color is problematic because it precludes fixing institutional racism. Instead, see color, recognize that your black friends face challenges you don't, and help move the world forward toward racial equity. This is their mindset. A lot of these liberal guys, they think like that because they don't understand what's really going on. They don't get it. They think the problems that exist in these low-income, crime-ridden minority communities will stay there, and they think they have the solution because they live in a nice area, no crime, but they don't understand the more they do things like this, the more their crime will spread right to their front doorstep, which is exactly what happened. He felt safe in Rankin Hill to be out there at 2:30 a.m. with no kind of weapon, no kind of security, no nothing, as this multi-millionaire, probably billionaire guy, founder of Cash App, former CEO of Square, a Bitcoin guy. He thought he was safe, not realizing that his thought process was wrong. Okay, and this is the problem with the liberal. This is why it's so hard for them to really get it. And sometimes they say it. They say that you are liberal until you're mugged by the reality of liberalism, then you become conservative. That's how it goes. Unfortunately, he died as a result of his mugging. So he couldn't even come to that conclusion. He knew something was wrong. That's why he left, why he fled to Miami to a red state. That's why he left. But unfortunately, he still wasn't really aware of how bad it had gotten. You know? Now, again, I did not post that to shame the guy or make fun of him. He had a wife and kids. So rest in peace to the guy. Prayers out to his wife and his kids. I'm just saying the mentality that these liberals have is what makes these situations happen. They don't really understand. They don't get it. They don't understand why we want guns, why we want to have open carry with no license, concealed carry with no license. They don't get it. We know because a lot of us have experienced it. We've come from these areas where we got to have stuff like that to protect ourselves. They live in a very liberal bubble. They probably grew up that way. They never experienced anything like that, so they don't understand. Sheltered rich, exactly. Sheltered rich kids, exactly. Somebody says right here in the comments, I'm reading on Twitter, not in the comments in the chat. Somebody says Mr. Lee grew up in Mill Valley, California, probably the most liberal town in Marin County. It was less than 1% black when he grew up. Today, only 1.5% black. It was and remains one of the whitest towns in California. Well, there you have it. So you don't even understand what's going on. You living in this bubble, and you don't understand once you go out there in the city where it's a whole lot of stuff happening, and now that happens. It's really unfortunate. So yeah, RIP to him. But I think there was a video of him. Matter of fact, here it is. Now, it's kind of hard to see. There's not a whole lot, really. So this is a video, and from what I saw, it's this building right there. I'm not sure what it is, if it's a hotel, office building, or whatever. There's a surveillance camera inside the building going outside. He's right by the door. I don't know if he's trying to get in the building or what's going on.
This surveillance video obtained by DailyMail.com is exactly what investigators are looking for. CCTV capturing tech titan Bob Lee moments after he was stabbed early Tuesday in San Francisco. At 2:35 in the morning, the injured 43-year-old appeared to be trying to wave down a passing car, which drove away, before Lee comes clearly into view outside the doors of a condominium complex.
365 Main, crossing of Folsom and Harrison. For a stabbing.
Lee, according to the San Francisco Standard, dialed 911 and screamed, "Help, someone stabbed me."
That cell phone is a critical piece of evidence in a case like this.
San Francisco's DA, Brooke Jenkins, says detectives are looking at every angle.
When we are dealing with a case where the suspect is unknown, you are trying to interview anyone and everyone who may have had contact with the victim leading up to the time of the crime.
Lee, perhaps best known for creating the mobile payment service Cash App, was a tech icon who lived in San Francisco for years before recently moving to Miami. Police scouring the neighborhood Lee knew well for any potential clues.
We are not commenting on evidence, nor will we speculate on the circumstances surrounding this horrific crime.
As San Francisco comes under scrutiny for a recent rash of crime, including a homicide rate that's risen in past years, Lee leaves behind 2 children, including a heartbroken daughter who writes, "I'm devastated that somebody would be so cruel to take away my father's life, a life cut short in a murder that remains a mystery."
See? It's crazy. But see, this is what I'm talking about. These people don't understand. They don't get it. That's why we advocate for open carry, concealed carry, guns in general, magazines beyond 10 rounds for a rifle, beyond 10 rounds for a handgun, quite frankly. That's why we want those things. Because criminals don't care about any kind of laws. They don't care. Okay? And wasn't no guns involved here. Somebody had a knife. Now, me personally, if I'm out somewhere at night, my head's on swivel. First of all, I'm not really going to be outside walking in a dangerous area like San Francisco. Maybe he thought it was all good. He's in a nice neighborhood, but I know how California is. I'm not going to be out there just by myself. Okay. I'm going to go to a more safe place where I can do things like that. And if I could have a gun, allegedly, if I had some, boating accident, they all went away. But if I can have a gun out there at night, I'm going to have it on me. Ready to go, one in the head, ready to rock. Because I don't know what someone else is thinking. I'm not going out there looking for trouble. I want to enjoy myself. As I said before on the channel, when I travel, I don't like being cooped up in the resort. I mean, resorts are okay to visit occasionally, but I like being out in the city. I like being able to walk around at night, have fun. And if I can have, a little something on me, I'm going to have it ready to roll. because I want to protect myself and those around me. I don't want to look for trouble. I don't want no problems. I'm gonna try to avoid trouble. I'm soft for real. I'm trying to be the nice guy. I'm gonna try to talk you out of it. I'm gonna try to be, charming. I'm not trying to start a fight. I don't want no problems. But if I got to, then I'm gonna go all the way. Either I'm gonna just be super nice and charming and big smiles, or somebody gonna die, and it's not gonna be me. But again, I don't want no problems. Okay, it's like Mike Tyson when he said he went to jail and they were asking him, "Did you get into fights and all this and that?" He was like, "Hey, I'm no tough guy. I'm in there. I'm minding my business. I'm doing my time. I ain't trying to start nothing." This is Mike Tyson, one of the most feared men in the world at the time, especially when he went to prison for the charge, for the R charge. He's not trying to be in there and be Mr. Tough Guy because, you can knock somebody out if you're Mike Tyson in the ring, but then what happens when you get 15 guys jump on you with a knife and cut you? I mean, nah, you got to be smart. I'm a smart guy. I'm not no brute or anything of that nature. Point blank. Point blank, period. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm a nice guy. I don't get in no trouble. But if you're going after, if somebody touches me now, if somebody violates my space, because I'll give you all the grace in the world. Just like the video I showed a while ago of the guy breaking into the house. Now, when the guy's outside the house, I'm like, "Hey man, you at the wrong house, boss." I'm gonna be calm. You at the wrong house, man. I need you to go ahead and back up, man. I got my gun in here now. I'm gonna be nice and charming, like an old Southern auntie. I'm gonna be that charming. Not an auntie, pardon me, like your uncle or your pawpaw. Real charming. But then once that boot breaks my door, oh no, now the charming, nice guy, the pawpaw that was talking at you at the window, that charming pawpaw has now become the Punisher. that pawpaw has now become something else. So let's not even do that. All right, now we got a few more things on here, a few more topics on deck. We talk about Cash App. Nah, not Cash App, pardon me. Well, some are calling this the government's version of Cash App. They're calling it let's just get into the topic. I don't want to try to bridge it so eloquently and perfectly. BRICS. Let's talk about BRICS. This is a thing that a lot of you guys have been asking me about for a while now. I got a lot of emails about this. Say, "Hey man, talk about BRICS, man. Talk about that BRICS currency, man. You can't be ignoring that story now, ABL. What's going on?" And, I had to do the video for you guys about BRICS. Now, BRICS, this is a consortium, a conglomerate, a collective, not really an alliance. That's kind of a big word to say alliance, because if you say that BRICS is an alliance of countries, then it's like, okay, are they only allied with each other? What's going on? Anyway, it's a consortium or a group of countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, BRICS. That's the countries right there. And of course, if you ask me, there are countries that are like satellite countries to them are also involved. So if China is going to be in a group like this, then so would a place like Mongolia or Southeast Asia, like Cambodia or somewhere like that. Countries that are pretty much satellites of China. Same thing with Russia. A lot of the former Soviet satellites like Kazakhstan and whatnot, the eastern part of Ukraine, Belarus, they're going to be on board with it as well. So these countries want to circumvent the US dollar and use their own currency to conduct trade. Now, this is not a conspiracy. It's not a what if. It's happening already. And as a matter of fact, there's already been a deal that happened between China and Brazil. So normally what happens is when Brazil and China trade with each other, they convert their own currencies into US dollars and they trade in US dollars because the dollar is the world's reserve currency. But what they just did was change it to where they use their own currencies without using the dollar. They use a Brazilian reais or whatever that's called and a Chinese yuan. They do not use the US dollar. So what BRICS wants to do is that kind of thing, but on a bigger scale, and have all the countries involved with it on the same currency. And they want it to be a CBDC. That's a central banking digital currency, like a cryptocurrency, but a real currency. And it'll be backed by gold. Okay. The US dollar is not backed by gold, and the US dollar is not fully digital. Although about 90% of all money is digital. Like most money is digital. Most money is just numbers on the screen. It doesn't really exist. If there was a bank run of all the banks in the country, the money wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be there. The Silicon Valley Bank thing was something that could happen at any time. The only reason why it happened is because there was some scary news. It wasn't really because there was mismanagement. That did happen, but that's the reason why the bank run happened, is because mismanagement forced them to say they don't have enough money to be able to, they had to get more money to keep on going. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of banks do not have the liquid cash available to you, because most cash is not in paper. Or put it to you this way, they might have their cash on their books, but there's not enough paper dollars or physical currency to actually fulfill all of the digital currency that exists. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you log into your bank account app right now and you see X amount of dollars in there, and if everybody sees that same or similar or different numbers, whatever it is, if everybody wanted to get all the money out, it just in cash and paper dollars, you might be able to get a check. You might be able to get some kind of certificate, an IOU, but not your physical paper dollars. So all they're going to do is just destroy the last of the dollars and use the CBDC in its place. We've already developed one here called FedNow, and they're calling that like a Cash App type service. It's going to be the similar thing to what BRICS is doing, but it'll be for the US. Let me see if I can pull that up right here. So here's the article. Let me put this. FedNow set to launch in July. What the instant payment service could mean for the digital dollar and stable coins. Because ultimately, the like I said, the goal is to get rid of cash. No more cash, all digital. And what does that mean? Well, first of all, when you're talking about BRICS, let me come back to this in a minute. When you're talking about BRICS, what that does is remove the dollar from a lot of these trades that happens between other countries. Like Brazil and China already have done away with the dollar. It'll be the same thing overseas in other countries. They won't have the dollar anymore as a reserve currency. That's going to plummet the value of the dollar. So you're talking about inflation and a recession and whatnot happening. That's happening because of the oversaturation of dollars in the market in America, plus supply chain shortages and labor shortages. You're going to have inflation. And then add on top of that, the world ditching the dollar as a reserve currency. That's going to plummet the value of the dollar. We see inflation right now already. We already got the eggs. The eggs are going crazy right now. Imagine going to the store and buying eggs, a loaf of bread, a pack of chicken breasts for like $100, $200. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be hyperinflation. That's the worst case scenario, because again, you already got inflation going on because all the money that's being printed. You got interest rates rising. Things are going to become unaffordable. Try buying a house, try renting an apartment, try renting a house. It's going to be hard. And then on top of that, you got BRICS doing what they're going to do. So the next thing would be when they have all digital currency, they're going to be able to track whatever you do. Track whatever you do. So right now, you could pay for things in cash and physical paper cash, and it can't be tracked by the feds. But when everything is digital, they track all that. They track all that. They already started doing this when they started to force the fintech apps to report your income to the federales. I'm talking about PayPal, Cash App. Speaking about Cash App, what else? Zelle, Venmo. They force all these companies to report to the feds. Then what they may do is just get rid of those. Just cancel those out. Use FedNow. We're going to put all your your unemployment benefits, your child support benefits, EBT, welfare benefits. We're going to put all that on your Fed now through digital only, and they can track whatever you do. That's the next step. And they already kind of have that, really, because your EBT card has all that stuff on it, and they can track what you do right now. So it took it to the next step with Fed now. Oh, crime is going to be crazy. Crime's going to be crazy, yeah. I think this could be a precursor to what happened. How can I explain? This could be a precursor to them trying to set up socialism or communism, which is what happened in USSR. And USSR, what happened was a lot of bartering, a lot of off-the-market bartering for services, for goods and services. Okay, hey, you know what? I need 10 gallons of milk. Can you fix my door for me? Can you, my door is a little raggedy, a little wonky. Like that's already going on in certain parts of the country, really all over the country. Small town America, that's a thing that happens. Okay, I have this for you, you have that for me. Let's exchange that way without having to have cash involved. Because everything can't be controlled by this central force. So you're going to see a lot of, stuff like that going on. Unofficial things happening under the table without any kind of cash involved. That'd be going on. I saw a comment on social media. I can't say the full thing because we got little babies watching. But basically the comment, without getting too crude, said, we fought the USSR for 50 years to only become the exact same as them, just not even as efficient as they were. A bootleg version of the USSR is what we're trying to become over here in the USA. And eventually, as they fail, so shall we, if we keep going down this road. Now, the saving grace for us in this whole BRICS situation would be that the world is currently relying upon us for innovation and consumption. However, that's going to soon come to an end when China is consuming more than we do. I saw a sign of this happening. It was a story a few years back about a car company building a plant in China. I think it might have been GM or somebody. For one of these American car companies building a plant in China. It might have been Jeep, actually. And people were complaining, why are they building an American car company in China? It's like, nah, you don't understand. That's for them, not for us. The cars over there will be for them to drive. You see what I'm saying? It's not just about China producing things for the world to consume. They're going to produce things for themselves. They're going to become consumers as well. Not just producers, while they live in squalor. They're going to produce things and consume things like we do. Now, they're not going to get to our level of consumption because, quite frankly, a lot of China is still in third world poverty conditions. Same with India, but they're trying to go that direction. So we got to see what's going on here. The whole thing with Russia and Ukraine and all this, I mean, it's kind of silly. I think we're trying to just stop Russia from being a power. We're trying to wear them down militarily without fighting them directly to maintain our status in the world, I guess. But that's not going to work. Russia is in BRICS, and they are going to ditch the dollar, which is going to hurt us more than their sanctions that they have on them from us. Now, we put sanctions on them. They can't even, you know what? It's really our fault for this happening with BRICS, ditching the dollar, because we put sanctions on Russia to where they can't even access the International Monetary Fund. So I was like, okay, you want to block us from the IMF. We can't even access these dollars. So, all right, check it out. We're going to create our own dollar, digital and backed by gold, to compete with you. And it won't just be Russia on board with it. It'll be China, India, South Africa, Brazil, big dogs of the world that are not caught in the USA. What you going to do about that? And guess what? Check this out. Right around the same time when BRICS announced this, what happens? Finland joins NATO. Oh, isn't that something? Finland is a country right on the border of Russia, and hold on, I gotta show a map. I gotta show a map because this is pretty important. to explain what I'm talking about. Okay, hold on. Matter of fact, yeah, here we go. No, that ain't what I want. I'm gonna find a map that's exactly what I'm looking for, because this is pretty important. And hold on. These maps, why they gotta be so complicated? There we go. Here we go. This is perfect. All right, check it out. So here's a map. You see Finland's right there, right? Has a very long border with Russia, right to the north and west of Russia. And right below Finland, you have the Gulf of Finland. And that goes into the Baltic Sea. And once you go over more to the west, well, once you go straight down from Finland in the Baltic Sea, you have Kaliningrad Oblast, which is part of Russia. And you also have Poland right there, and then Germany right there, Sweden and whatnot. This is a very important area. This little area right here is where they had the Nord Stream pipelines. And somebody blew those up. I'm not sure who did that. But anyway, so somebody blows the Nord Stream pipelines up, and then a few months later, all of a sudden, Finland becomes part of NATO. Now, right to the south of Finland is Lithuania, one of the Baltic states. I think you have Lithuania, I want to say Latvia, Estonia, or one of those. It might be, I'll be saying it the wrong way. Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting it right. Is it Lithuania or is that Latvia? That's Latvia, actually. Nah, Estonia. Okay, I was right. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Okay, there we go. So that's Estonia, pardon me. So Estonia is right there, right below Finland, right to the south of the Gulf of Finland. So what could happen is Estonia, also in NATO, they can set up a blockade right here with Finland to block the Gulf of Finland, so Russia does not have access to it, because St. Petersburg is right there in the Gulf of Finland. You understand what I'm saying? Once you come from the Baltic Sea through the Gulf of Finland, you're hitting Russia right there in a very big city, St. Petersburg, where again you had the Nord Stream pipelines. So that is going to be a problem. Right at the same time they announced that, BRICS says, okay, we're coming up with our currency right now. We're not going to have a dollar anymore. This is part of the war. This is all part of the war. Finland being part of NATO is part of the war. BRICS having the currency is part of the war. It's all linked. Wars are not necessarily fought with guns anymore. They are fought with guns, of course, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. You're talking about, first of all, you got spies. That's kind of a low-level thing. You got the fangs of the world that, interfere. You have spies. You have these people subverting your children in K through 12. You have social media, TikTok, feeding your children garbage, brainwashing them from a young age. You have a lot of financial stuff going on, sanctions and new currencies, and we're not using the dollar anymore. It's all part of war. It's all trying to gain an advantage, all trying to gain leverage. It's all that it is. Economic war. That's right, LB. So we're going to see what happens with the whole situation. We're going to see what happens. I mean, it's going to be a mess. The whole BRICS thing is going to be a mess. Fed Now is a response to it. They announced Fed Now at the same time when the BRICS currency came out, right when they said Finland can be part of NATO. And then what they want to do eventually is have Turkey become part of NATO. That could be complicated because of the whole Muslim thing, but they want to have Turkey be part of NATO because Turkey is south of the Black Sea. I think, right? Yeah. It's south of the Black Sea. So let's look at Turkey and their geographic location. So, pardon the bad map, but it is what it is. So you see what's going on right here. You see Turkey and their prime location. Okay, so check it out. If Russia wants to get to the Mediterranean, they can go right here from Sevastopol, and that's Crimea, which they just took from Ukraine a few years ago, right? So if Turkey becomes part of NATO, now they can block that off. And you see the little, that's the Bosphorus Strait. That's Istanbul on both sides of that. So if they can just block the Bosphorus Strait off, that can choke their access to the Mediterranean. So it's all just geopolitical. It's all just little chess moves going on. That's all that it is. But they're not in NATO yet. Nope. Turkey is not in NATO. If they were in NATO, that'd be a big problem. Okay. Hold on. Are they in NATO? Wait a minute. Hold on. I guess they are NATO. Well, I'm tripping. I thought they were not in NATO. No, I'm sorry. They're not in the EU. That's what I was thinking about. They want to become part of the EU, but they're not part of the EU yet, but they are in NATO. So, yes, they are in NATO, but they're not in the EU because that was a thing a while back. All right. But I'm not really sure. Turkey's a weird thing. All right. But anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Yeah, Turkey, that's a big thing. They said they want to be part of the EU. I think Greece is in the EU. Hold on, let me look at the EU. Who's in there? Yeah, Greece, Bulgaria, they're all part of the EU, but Turkey is not. But they are a candidate. So it's like this. You got Turkey over there, Ukraine, a lot of your Balkan areas. No, they want to be part of the EU. Of course, you got Switzerland, always neutral. UK recently got out of the EU. But you see that map right there, that can be very complicated. Georgia and EU, that's crazy. See? So now look at Russia though. Look how Russia's thinking. They're like, okay, I'm being surrounded by these hostile countries. You got NATO and EU. All these countries are in EU, except for Turkey. And they want to have Georgia be part of it, right on their border. They're surrounding them. A lot of the EU is also in NATO. It's a mess. All right. Let's keep on rolling here. So what else we got? BRICS currency, Tennessee lawmakers, Cash App, LGBT. Did I get to some more here? Oh, speaking about LGBT, they want to ban LGBT quote unquote anti-LGBT protests in Canada. And you know, when I first saw the story, I was like, okay, they want to ban protests in general. They want to just ban protests because it can be violent, it can be dangerous. I'm not a fan of that, but I can understand why they might want to do that. But no, they want to ban protests specifically for LGBTQ LMNOP events. Now, it sounds very familiar, doesn't it? When you want to ban protests for one like specific thing or one kind of group of people, when you're limiting free speech, because as far as I know, that's in the Canadian Constitution. They have freedom of speech up there. But when you want to ban it for a particular group of people, a certain little protected class, it's like, well, what are we doing here? What's really going on? Okie dokie, that's kind of crazy. But that's Canada for you. All right. And it's always the same kind of people. Like I said before, it's always the same people that are out here looking crazy. Hold on. Let me just make sure I got my video on deck. And so the caption says, new bill would criminalize protests and offensive remarks in parts of Canada. So it's a bill right now. I'm sure Trudeau would like to sign it into law, but let's go ahead and see what they want to say here. And why is there always children involved? You see, you got these big twins from the Matrix looking characters, Harley Quinn / Joker at the same time. Okay, you cosplaying as both. You cosplaying as two people in the DC universe. It's crazy. You got these big jokers back there, but why is a child right there? See, that's my thing. It's like, look, before they even play this, I'm gonna always say this whenever they talk about this subject. You guys can do whatever you want, how many months during the week, you can go ahead and have fun. But leave the kids out of it and don't force us, regular normies, to be part of it. And guess what? If I have freedom of speech, if I have freedom to assembly, freedom to protest peacefully, if I have that freedom, let me exercise it without you trying to get me criminally liable for doing it. See, you're trying to force me to just accept whatever you got going on. What if I don't want to accept it? That's my prerogative to do so or to not do so. But I digress. Let's go ahead and see what these guys got to say.
Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI plus community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully. First,
so you heard that. You can't protest. Like she said the word protest. I'm not making it up. I'm not exaggerating or just being, nah. You can't protest, say offensive remarks, or do anything like that within 100 feet of these LGBT drag. And why are there so many letters in this whole thing? 2SL LGBTQI plus. What is the point of having all those letters? I mean, why don't you just say abnormal, irregular? Why not just say that and keep it all the way real? And again, why is the child right there? What's the child got to do with it? What's the child? Are you going to prosecute children for this? Why is a child there? You see what I'm saying? This is crazy. So there's more. And now you got Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, and at the same time, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie to the podium.
We will not let fear win. A world without trans people has never existed. A world without drag has never existed, and it never will. Queer people have always been here amongst us. They are our coworkers. They are our brothers, our sisters. They are our mothers, our fathers. They are our families. Drag is art. Drag is culture. Drag is educational. Drag is creative. Drag is comedy, but drag is not a crime. My name is Scarlett Bobo, and thank you so much for your time.
So, I mean, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. So you can't even criticize these people. You can't even protest against these people, specifically them, not just you can't protest, which is bad enough. Them, they got to have their own little protected class. See, that's kind of where we're going. They want a protected class, and then they want to do whatever they want in that class. That's why you got a child right there, because you know what's next. We all know what's happening. So Canada, you guys got to do something about that. Y'all guys got to you guys got to tighten up, man, because that's not it right there. That is not it. You guys got to do something to curtail that whole behavior. Yeah, send it. Yeah, shout out to J Flow. Send it, man. Go ahead. Send the meteor. Just clear it out. That might have to be the way, because that right there is not even it. Oh, I got an article, but I won't read it. I'm just gonna read the headline for time purposes. I'm not trying to, give you guys a whole essay worth of information. So Kamala Harris does not do much, right? You almost hear her too much. She kind of just is chilling. She's the border czar, but has not done a thing with the border at all. I mean, imagine getting a job that does not require that much work and you don't do the job. Okay, your job is to sit at a computer desk as a security guard for 12 hours, but yet you're not there. It kind of reminds me of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, but different story, I digress. Oh, we were online shopping, whatever. Anyway, so Kamala Harris got a job, a little gig. So here's the caption. She came to Nashville to support the 3 unruly Democrats of the House. The 6 victims of the transgender Kamala Harris never saw their families. The reigning czar of the border, who has never been there, but she supports an uprising of somebody in the Tennessee courthouse. Okay, so she's going to go there for the pro-black issues and stuff like that occasionally. She'll go there for when it's a photo opportunity, when it makes sense for her to show her face. Okay, send Kamala Harris out there. Talk to the questionable black guy and the other black guy with the 1975 black exploitation film voice, right? Go out there and do that, Kamala Harris. That's your job. But it's like, okay, is that all you're going to do? So the whole thing about being the border czar, you're not going to do that? That's not really in your wheelhouse anymore? That's not really something you too fond of doing? What part of the game is this? It's a whole big crazy mess. A whole big crazy mess. So yeah. Have you guys seen the video, to switch gears right quick, because I got more video for you guys. Have you guys seen the video of the trees falling on the green at the Masters? I don't know if it's the green. It's just on the course. It wasn't on the green. It was on the course. Or it might have been off in the rough area. Let me see if I can get a better video. I have one video teed up right here, but I'm going to try to find a better video. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and play the video right quick. If you've not seen it, if you have seen it, play one more game for you.
Folks, we are following some breaking news right now. It's coming out of Georgia, where several large trees, pine trees, have fallen at the Masters golf tournament. You can see from this video, at least 2 trees are down near the 17th hole. ESPN reporting that there are no injuries. We have no official confirmation of that from the Masters, but the trees, as you can see, fell in an area where fans were gathered. Right now, play suspended because of the weather, and of course, we will keep you posted. You can see those trees.
Okay, so they're not going to. Can we get the actual falling? Like, like what are we doing?
Stand from the
fall. I mean, like, okay, I have some video of the actual fall. It's just not really good video. All right, so just check it out. So you see people kind of moving up, they're getting up, and then you seeing some branches fall down, and then boom, look at this, trees falling right here. Now, luckily nobody was hurt, but those trees, I mean, I've seen trees fall that are that size and do serious damage. You got to understand, trees are obviously made of wood. Like, imagine getting hit in your head by a 2x4, by a piece of cut wood, a piece of cut lumber at Home Depot. Imagine that falling on your head. So imagine something that's much taller than that, which means it's going to be much heavier, hitting you, and it's free falling straight down. You can actually die like that. So thankfully nobody was hurt, but that's crazy to have these trees fall right on the golf course during the tournament. Yeah. It was probably what happened. What probably happened was that it's a lot of rain, and that caused the ground to get real soft. And then, it probably wasn't a whole lot of, they probably got the course a certain way to where the trees do not have really solid roots. You combine that with the rain, sometimes that happens, the trees will fall down. A lot of times when there's a storm and you have fallen trees on the power lines and in the road, it's because the rain made the ground weak, and then you combine that with the wind. That's probably what happened. Yeah, the ground's real wet. That's what happened, exactly. So that's why a lot of times in a tornado, well, you have trees that will break in a tornado, but even in strong wind, if it's raining a lot too, all of that combined will make the tree fall over because ground soft, roots ain't really that strong. The ground is and the tree falls. All right. Ban trees, exactly. Ban trees. Legacy X says, too saturated and roots are rotten or old. Exactly. Yep, that is correct. So yeah, if you like what you're hearing, so y'all know what to do. Get a video a thumbs up. Do I have more video for you guys? I think that might be it for the videos until I get to the calls and everything else. But yeah, the whole thing is definitely crazy out there on the Masters. So yeah, it's been a lot of rain out here. You know, I don't live far from that particular place. You know, I'm right on the border of Georgia. It's raining here all day. Yeah, and the ground gets really wet. Sometimes you have like, if you have sometimes mountains that have like little hill slips will happen when it's a lot of rain. And if you're living in an area like with younger mountain ranges, you have mudslides, landslides that'll happen. Not out here really, because we got older mountains. You don't really see too much of that out here. There might be a boulder on the ground every now and again from on the interstate, but that's kind of rare too. That's more of a thing that happens on the West Coast. That's why I got to keep breaking rocks and whatnot on the highway, the West Coast Highway, Highway 1, whatever that is, right there on the very, very far left coast. They got to keep breaking rocks up there manually so they don't fall just at random times. All right, but let's go to the super chats right quick. Let me get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Y'all give me a moment. I'm gonna get to those in a second. Super chats on deck first. Thank you to Dutch Schaefer, who says, if a trans woman commits a crime, male or female prison, some of these women that think they are men might get things figured out if they were put in general population. Exactly. Again, when we're talking about this whole trans issue, it always seems to be talking about men that, quote unquote, become women. Your Bruce Jenners of the world, your Leah Thomas of the world. It's about these guys, but you never hear about the other way around. Because again, I've met a so-called trans man, a biological XX woman that became a man, in her mind at least. When I saw the trans man, it was clearly a woman, 5'2". I mean, without the beard and the dude clothes, it was clearly a woman. The stature and everything, the voice was a little bit different, but beyond that, I saw a woman. It's like, man, come on, you're not fooling me at all. Like, I remember I was, when I was recording Jubilee some years back, and it was like this whole big reveal talking about, yeah, I'm trans. I'm like, oh, really? You're trans? I would have never known. Wow. I am so surprised. It's like, man, come on. And water is wet. And water is wet, man. And grass is green and the sun is hot. Like, big surprise. Anyway, but these trans, quote unquote, trans men, biological women, do not want to be in the male prison. I mean, you're going to be somebody's wife in there the first second you get in there. Beard or no beard, you're going to be a wife immediately. You're going to be in that jank pregnant. Off the rip. I'm not saying that's okay to do that, but it's prison. Things happen to people in prison. It's not a safe place to be. That's why you don't want to go there. And that's why you don't want to be a biological woman in the male prison. That's why there should be a male prison and a female prison. Do not put them. It's bad enough when a man assaults a man. That's bad enough. But when a man assaults a woman, now you got a whole baby in the mix. I mean, it's crazy. And the woman can't really fight back the way a man can fight back. But I digress. Dutch Schaefer says, where is the Me Too movement for Riley Gaines? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Thank you to Freedom MMC, who says, I feel like it's a $50 super chat. Okay, well, if you identify as $50 in a super chat, then I guess that works. Michael Critchlow says, we people are forced to accept the most obvious lies and repeat them. We lose our sense of moral principles, honesty, and decency. Theodore Dalrymple. That's a good quote, though. Very good quote. One more time. We people are forced to accept the most obvious lies and repeat them, and we lose our sense of moral principles, honesty, and decency. Think it's Lee Clinton who says, I'm pro-black, and it's foolishness. Lee says, please don't confuse liberals as pro-black. I agree. You know, I say I'm pro-black too, but I'm not a liberal or one of these weirdos. I want the best thing for black people. And it's not even a racist thing. I just want the best thing because I think if there's a group think, people in that group should look out for that group. And it shouldn't be just about that group. I'm just giving you how I feel. How anybody else feels is different. But if you have a group that you're a part of, whether you want to be or not, you should want to help if you can. And I want to help. And part of the way that I help is I just give the truth to people that may want to hear it from a guy that looks like me. You know, and if you listen to me and we look different, that's fine too. I don't really care who hears me as long as you get the message. But I know that some people need to hear it from a guy that looks like me, and that's fine. I'm here for everybody that wants to hear me. Thank you to Tu Vang, who says, we're all going to be fighting for loaves of bread at the food bank if Biden is announced it. I'm with you. Michael Critchlow says Coolio's cause of death was released Thursday. Turns out it was a fentanyl overdose. Sad so many people are dying from this drug. We got to do better. Yeah, fentanyl's all over the place, man. It's every drug on the street is pretty much fentanyl at this point. Pretty much. I mean, for the guys who smoke weed and stuff like that, I mean, I guess it's not, but it might be. They put it in everything at this point. And then some say, well, we got legalized drugs. That ain't going to help because guys are still going to go to the street for the highest of the high. They're not going to legalize fentanyl for recreational use. People would still go to the street for it. And even if they did, they go to the street for an even higher high. You're not going to legalize drugs that can kill you instantly. It don't make no sense. Why would you be able to? Why would you legalize a drug that can kill you right away? Like if you could just go to the corner store with no regulation and just buy something that can kill you right away, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you're still gonna have street drugs, and it's so bad in the street. You got guys that will go to a place where they're hearing about overdoses happening. If they hear somebody died from it, they think they want that because that's the best drug. That's going to be the best. They want to get all the way close to death. That's how bad the streets are right now with these drugs. And it's really a shame. Robin Hill, thank you for your super chat. You giving me the cool emoji with the sunglasses. I appreciate you for that. Thank you to Kai's Posthumous, who says, have you seen the new Trump Trump versus DeSantis straw poll? I've not seen that. F Ranger Xbox says, identify as a trans black lesbian. Okay, there you go. Thank you to Kai's Posthumous, who says, why did Newsom vacation in Florida and not DeSantis? Running for president, that's all. He's trying to become the president. I told y'all that about Newsom. They're going to run Newsom because Biden is pretty much done. Biden was done before he ran. Biden didn't even campaign. Biden was in his house in Delaware in the basement eating Pop-Tarts and chicken tendies. He was not campaigning. So he's not going to be able to campaign in 2024. Now that COVID is over, he's got to be out there in the streets. You know, he cannot be out there campaigning. He's 1,000 years old. He is old as time itself. He was here before Adam and Eve got here. He was the manager of he was the guy that grew the tree that they took the apple from. He's that old. So he's not going to be able to run. It's going to be Gavin Newsom. I told y'all that. Newsom versus DeSantis or Trump. And I think the left think if they can run Newsom, they can defeat Trump. That's their thought process. Thank you to Handmade, who says, ABL, did you know mRNA gene technology is in livestock and produce? Attorney Renz has a solution. I emailed you details. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. All right. We have callers on deck. You know what time it is. The number to call is 434-658-1220. There's also a Skype email in the description box. You can use that to be on the screen right there in the bottom left-hand corner. If it does not work properly, do not blame me. Please blame the white man because I know it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. The number to call is, again, 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. It's all good. I got you. All right. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, BL. It's F&A Ranger Xbox. How you doing, brother?
It's all good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, man. I'm doing all right. It's quiet Saturday night, listening to your show, enjoying it. This trans thing, I told you before about, about 10 months ago, that this is, if they can get you to believe that a man can just say, I'm a woman today, they can get you to believe that your kids are their sex toys. And then once they throw them out, since abortion's okay, if you're allowed to murder the youngest member of society, the most innocent, the most vulnerable, then you can murder anybody. And they want, the World Economic Forum says they want to model the world's one world government after the government of China. Well, guess what? Guess what? They got your DNA, they got tissue samples, they got blood samples. Somebody that's elite, high-level member of government, and you're a tissue match and they need your organs, they're not knowing you.
Right.
That's just the way it is there. That's what they mean by forced organ harvesting. There's only like 20 people that in China, 1.6 billion people that are actual organ donors, but they perform the most organ transplants in the world.
Exactly.
And that's what they want here. And they come out and they say it in the open. They put it in writing. They put it in black and white. All the new documents that are coming out. I don't know, brother. I don't know. We're going to have to draw a line in the sand. I mean, my kids, you know, like I said time and time before, you don't have the right to mess up anybody else's childhood, you know? And the whole trans thing is just the Democrats and their historical love of beating women and minorities. Our government knows exactly what they're doing. If they wanted young black men to be successful engineers and doctors, they would be successful engineer and doctors. But this is one big psyop that's going on to destroy our country. Because it just came out that Leonardo DiCaprio is testifying in Indonesia, Singapore, I believe. I could be mistaken there, but the Chinese government gave Obama $30 million for campaign contributions. Talk about foreign interference with elections. Look into that story.
Exactly.
And I'll leave you with that, brother. God bless you. God bless the show. God bless America. Best listeners in the world. Goodbye.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Bye.
All righty. Great call. 224 to the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Kelly, and I'm from the northern suburbs of Chicago. I've been watching since the summer of 2020, and this is my first time calling in. I just wanted to say keep up the good work, and I enjoy watching your show. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out to her for the call. I appreciate that. Let's go to 346 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Kelly.
I can't hear you. Are you on speakerphone?
2020.
Hello?
Is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
Good afternoon. I'm a fellow member of Gen Z, and unfortunately, I would like to become a politician when I'm older, and I was wondering, since you don't have to have a degree of any kind to get into politics, should I not go and become self-taught instead of becoming in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, or should I still go to college to become certified? If so, which college should I go to that isn't hosted by the leftists or classes that I should take to avoid being indoctrinated?
Okay, well, first of all, how old are you?
I'm turning 16 in 6 months.
Okay, so do you know what you want to do? Like, do you have any interest that you could do and go make money?
What?
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
Sure.
Do you have any interest? Like, do you have anything that you might want to do to make money aside from politics? Because it's not really, if you get into politics, it's not going to be money right away. You want to have an actual skill or a trade you can do. Do you have any interest that you can make money in?
I like to write and I do graphic design.
Okay. All right. So maybe you could go to journalism, do something like that first. You know, if you can write, if you can investigate, get into journalism. Now you can find schools that don't have a lot of liberal, ideology baked into them. You got to do your research. You know, that's part of your whole thing about being a journalist. Do your research to figure out where's the best place to go. If you go to a blue state, California somewhere, maybe even Chicago, like where you are right now, it's probably not the best place to be. Go to a more red state, go down south, go to Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, somewhere, and just research where you're going to go before you go there if you must go to college. But you can also just kind of do things on your own, start writing stories on your own, start a blog, start small, and then grow into what you want to do. And then politics, let it come to you. You know, don't really search for it too much. It shouldn't really be a career. Have your journalism or whatever you want to do first, and then pursue politics afterward.
Would freelancing be a good option?
That's a great option for freelancing to be a journalist. Absolutely. You know, you can start your own website. It doesn't cost much. And then, you know, you can start writing for certain publications locally, and then just grow. Once you're able to get more notoriety, just grow from there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, goodbye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah. To anybody that's young out there, you know, figure out a way to make money. Do your research. That's what I would say. Do your research before you go anywhere. Figure out the cost of college, how much it's going to cost. I'm not going to be totally against college. I think it depends on why you're going and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. If you're going to go to college and spend $30,000 a year to be a major in underwater basket weaving, I think that's kind of a waste of money. You might as well take the money and burn it at that point, because it's not going to do you any good. Develop a skill or a talent that you can actually go out in the marketplace and use. That's what I would say. But, you know, to each their own, I suppose. Let's keep on rocking and rolling. The number to call, you know what it is. 304, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's your favorite Georgia/West Virginia boy here. How you been, man?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Oh, nothing, man. I just wrote some points down here. I listened to the whole show. It's one of the first times in a while I've actually got to listen to the whole thing, and one of the first times in a while I've actually gotten through with the calls. But I'll go ahead and get started. The swimmer girl, Riley.
Yeah.
I'm with, you know, like her message and everything, but why would she pick San Francisco University, you know, to go and do what she's trying to do? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to go to different areas where she could actually make a difference? Because she's not going to change San Francisco. They've been the way they are for as long as I can remember. I'm not that old, but you know, I just feel like there'd be other areas where she could go and actually make a difference and not put herself in, you know, as much danger as she did.
Well, I mean, that's definitely, that's a point you can make. But at the same time, it's like, she said she could at least say that she went and tried to make a difference, because we could just write them off and say, forget about it. It's not going to happen. But you might be able to change one person's mind out there in San Fran. And then the left can't say that nobody on the right ever came to them. They were only ever given left their whole life. They can't say that nobody tried on the right. So although it might appear to be kind of a futile effort, at least you made the effort.
Yeah. I mean, A for effort for sure on that. I was just wondering, you know, if you maybe, I get it. Yeah. Okay. I tried, you know, you can't say I did it, but, another thing that kind of leads into my next, this is really not a question, but, you know, whenever people, you know, they decide they're like, you know, the Cash App guy, right? He's like, he got out of there, and then he just came back to handle some business and visit some friends and whatnot, you know, and obviously we know what happened to him. And then you have the same people that live in these areas, and they want to move to, you know, places like where we live. You know, we're happy, like we're cool with walking down the street. I mean, like, you're welcome here, but don't bring your voting ways and you're just you know, like, yeah, you're welcome here, but don't bring that junk over here because you want to leave it, but then you want to bring the same thing to a different area and ruin someone else's communities, you know?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't really care. They don't really seem to grasp the concept of coming to a new place. You got to do different things. You can't do what you did at the old place and expect to get somehow a different result. It's not the location. It's the people that live in the location behaving a certain way, voting a certain way. That's the problem. So if you come to a new place and if you live in a new place and behave and vote the same way, you get the same results. They don't get it.
Yeah, it's basically the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
That's right.
But also with the Cash App guy, I don't think you said it. I'm pretty sure you said it in your actual video that you made before the live, but all that happened in Nancy Pelosi's district, right?
That's
the
right.
Same place where the whole fiasco with Paul and everything happened. What even happened with all of that, and where is Nancy?
And that's a really, really good question. I don't know where she's at in this whole mix.
I mean, after all, that is her district, right?
That's right.
All right, so the BRICS thing, I have a couple of questions. I mean, you covered it pretty good, but so is it like a thing to where you can exchange your money from just say the American dollar or the Mexican peso into a brick? Like, it's not a joke, it's not a pun, but like, is that how that works, or is it just exclusively for like the countries in the acronym of BRICS? Like, are they the only ones that can use the money to trade amongst themselves?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. All I know is that they are going to use it to trade amongst themselves. Now, if others want to get involved with it, I'm not sure why there would be any barrier to it. But then again, I don't know why somebody would want to do that. So it's like, if you have US dollars, why would you want to convert that into their currency? I mean, that's definitely possible, though.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was just like the euro, right? They all came together and just formed their own currency within the countries over there in Western Europe, I guess. But I didn't know if that's how that was going to work. But the thing about I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. The thing with up in Canada with the protesting against all of those letters, how that was very specific, right? It's going to be a $25,000 fine if you protest against all those letters and numbers and whatnot. So they're making it basically impossible for anybody, regular people, I guess you would call them, to say or do anything against their community. Like, but how can they say what you identify as if you are a protester and they say you protested against one of our letter people? Who are they say you're not one of the letter people?
That's a really good point.
If you go to court, like, just say they're like, he protested against this, but you're like, no, I identify as one of those, but maybe I'm against one of the others, but I'm still in that group of people. And who's to say, right?
That's a really good point, because, and that kind of points to how vague the whole situation is, because they're talking about, if you say offensive statements, it's like, well, what is considered offensive? Like, the whole thing is just vague, and it seems like it can be used at any time to just harass somebody if people see like it's fit to use it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's vague, but very specific at the same time, right? Like, it's vague as to what you can and can't say, but it's also very specific to the people who you can and can't say things about. So yeah, I guess that overall does make it really vague, but I don't know. That's crazy, but I'm just gonna leave you with this, man. I wrote all this stuff down. I just got little bullet points, but over time, all the great superpowers, the Roman Empire, the Greeks, all the superpowers, that reigned supreme for years and years, generations. I mean, do you think that it's happening to us? Because it seems like we're focusing a lot of, well, basically all of our power is concentrated on a very singular group of people, and isn't that what's brought all the previous superpowers, basically to their demise? And you think that's what's really going on? Because if it is, it seems to be happening pretty daggone fast, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. I agree with you. I mean, and that's and that could be a sign of a declining empire when you're focusing on one group of people. Definitely like the other ones have in the past. I agree.
Yeah, all the power and the corruption is concentrated in a certain area, and then they just make it to where, the little people, they can't, or they make it at least make them feel like they can't do anything about it, when in reality they can, but it's a thin line, right, where, okay, I can fight against it, but if I speak out and my voice gets too loud against so-and-so, they're just going to have me, they're just going to wire my mouth shut where I can't say or do anything, like just put them away. He's making too much sense. He's on to us, or, isn't that how it basically happens? Just the power gets, one central group gets too powerful and then it just ends it all?
You're right on point, man. Well, I got to get to a few more calls on the lines. Thank you for the call as always. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Sorry for taking up so much time, man. I'll let you later.
All right, now. All right. Great call from my man. Shout out to him. Let's go to 504 to the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Alien Spaceship.
All right, man. What's happening?
All right. So I have some interesting things to say. And so, my friend Peach, she was telling me about some exclusive information about the Kamala speech that she had. So Kamala recently went to Dalton to talk about to go talk to a solar plant, and she made some, a speech and whatnot. And contrary to what the media would like you to think, the people in Dalton don't really like Kamala at all.
Yeah, right on. I live right here, so I'm like a half hour from Dalton, so I know that area pretty well. A lot of Hispanics right there, North Georgia. That's really mega country, so that's not a Kamala Harris stronghold at all.
Right, and only 28% in that area vote Democrat.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, and also, she was telling me about the business called Q Cells, which is the solar plant, and it's connected to this other company called Wanha or something like that. It's a Asian word, and it's connected to China. And the company Q Cells was started in Germany in 1999. Then it migrated in different parts of the planet. And Dalton, as you know, is more known for its carpets and whatnot. And it wasn't necessarily something they wanted exactly. And the company is becoming woke. And I feel it's a way that they're attacking the countryside area to try to infiltrate it or, try to mess with it, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Right. And also something else interesting is that her sister is the GOP secretary in that area in Winefield. And and also her sister was protesting peacefully, and some of Kamala's people were being very rude and cursing at her sister and the other peaceful protesters from the Republican side. And it just shows you they were like Antifa people and they were foreigners to that area because, and I've been in that area, a long time ago, that area, it's very nice and peaceful and people are not violent like that. So they brought people from some other place to cause trouble over there.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much how it goes. A lot of these people, they travel to protest, so-called protests, to rabble rouse or cause problems. They're all over the country. They probably get paid to do it. That's pretty much a widely known thing at this point, unfortunately.
Right. And also, and her sister's trying to ask, Kamala questions, and she didn't, answer anything, and she didn't want to, try to be challenged about her opinions and, whatnot. It's just very shady, Democrat stuff. And also, Peach was telling me about the farms, how, the farms would not survive with the solar panels and stuff. And I think also with the weather, sometimes it's not always sunny because they, heat up the rooms for the chickens and stuff. It would take more energy than a solar panel would provide. So it definitely seems like they're trying to, the solar thing would really hurt our food industry in America.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. And all these, as I said before, these Chinese companies are attacking from all different angles. They'll attack through many different ways to try to get the food supply and whatnot. And yeah, and also something she didn't mention was during the Obama administration, there were 1,500 layoffs in that place, and also she didn't mention anything about that and how Kemp and Trump were the ones that helped that place get better during when Trump got in. And Kamala and also Joe Biden, they don't give Trump credit for anything that he did, and they just take all the credit for anything good that he did.
That's pretty much how it goes. Anything that they think is bad that they can blame on Trump, they do that. But anything good that they cannot take credit for, seriously, they try to take credit for. That's pretty much how that goes.
Yeah, I personally think Kamala is one of those creepy clowns like from the It movie.
Yeah, that pretty much that makes sense. That fits.
Yeah, and also I remember some people say she's like a llama. Yeah, yeah, because I think her name is Major Taylor Greene. I think her name is, that politician.
Marjorie.
Yeah, she took a pic. She took a picture of of her sister doing the protest. Yeah, so so that's some pretty interesting stuff. And I sent you an email about the RNA thing, about the chip thing. I sent you an email about that, so you can look at it if you haven't already seen it already.
I'll check it out for sure.
All right. Thank you, ABL, for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right, shout out, man, for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. The number to call, you know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 912, the line I'm speaking to.
What's going on, Anthony? It's Tom here in Savannah, Georgia.
All righty, what's happening?
Another day, I'm fetching a bunch of chicken eggs. So I got a funny little text message my buddy sent me the other day. He said in 2023, the real pimp daddy, or sugar daddy, not pimp daddy, the real sugar daddy, and it was just a dude holding a basket of eggs.
That's funny.
No, but I got another funny little riddle. So if a rooster sits on the roof, like on a regular, like, triangular roof, and he lays an egg, which way does the egg roll?
I don't know.
Well, roosters don't lay eggs.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, there we have it.
But that's how fast you got to be to think about how quick. You know, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Kindergarten cop.
Yeah,
I mean, but that was crazy. When she was in the locker room, like having the experience, getting like. I mean, if you're a kid, there's certain rules that it's appropriate, but the way it is that in your mind, and some dude comes in and just whips it out randomly, and you're like half changing, putting your swimsuit on. It's like, what's right and what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? And they're shoving a lot of this stuff down our throats. And it's crazy because the indoctrination. The first caller was great. You know, a couple of people have had some amazing points. You had a couple quick callers, but the way they're controlling stuff is crazy. From even now, you got to be careful. If you're a pure blood like I am, you never got no jabs, you never got no stuffed up your nose. They're now trying to just put it in all the food we're eating. The mRNA, they're injecting it, trying to get you. They're spraying chemtrails. It's unlimited.
Right on.
I guess I didn't ask a specific question, but I mean the way they're indoctrinating. I was homeschooled up until I was in 8th grade. So from 0 to 13, you know, I was like you, ran around in the woods. I was a kid that could do kid stuff, not like, hey, you guys want to go to the drag show? Like
right.
the short time period that this trans stuff over the last like 2-3 years has been shoved down our throat. I mean, but it's not just the trans; it's the Black Lives Matter. Which it's not that Black lives don't matter. All lives matter. I mean, I heard you earlier explaining it. Maybe it's easier for some people to relate to me because I'm not a white man. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I don't think skin color matters to me. We don't judge people based on that.
Right on. Absolutely, man. Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You have a good one.
All right, now. All right, shout out to the caller. And let's go to 412. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, what's going on?
Ain't too much, man. What's happening?
All right, man. Great show. I have just a couple questions real quick.
All right.
I got through about 3-4 months ago, whatever, talking about the chip in your hand and this central baking stuff. I wonder, is that chip coming out, or is it a card, or what?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure about the chip. I've not heard too much about that. A lot of news about that, but that could be part of it. You know, they could say, okay, you guys gonna get the chip. You know, they might start it in Asia first, test it over there. A lot of the third world people that work in these factories use a chip to enter the facility as for a security thing, and then they could put the CBDC on that, and then if it works with a small population, they'll extend it. They could do that, but I've not heard too much about that. But if it did, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so what about a lot of people that's not going to go along with this CBD stuff, like companies, businesses, and all that? Do you think it'll still be American money floating around after July?
Well, yeah, it'll still float around because they're not going to be able to just roll the whole CBDC thing out immediately. I think what they're going to do first is trade with each other with that kind of currency. And but the people in the countries may still have dollars. So it'll take a while for all countries to adopt it and have everybody on board. But it can happen quickly because everybody has their phones. Everybody's on the internet at a certain point. So it wouldn't take that much for them to really spread it across really quickly to these nations that would participate in the program.
Okay. Say if there's another election, and if Trump get in, do you think he could bring the American dollar back?
Well, I mean, he can't really do anything about the CBDCs. That he can't really do anything about these nations having their own currency because he has no jurisdiction. What can he really do? All he could do is try to improve their economy and hope that they would come back to the dollar. But if they're able to do their own currency and they have success with it and they don't need the dollar anymore, if they're able to do that successfully, then there's no purpose in going back to the dollar. If what they have works, then they're good. They don't need the dollar anymore.
Okay. And all these countries is coming together as far as, the BRICS and all that. Do you think this is the beginning of a new world order?
I mean, that's already here. That's been here. That's not like, I think what's happening right now is you have certain countries that are vying for power, trying to be the top dogs, trying to break away from the United States and the West. But the New World Order and whatnot, that's been here. It's just a matter of power shifting. That's all.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks a lot, brother. And have a good day and great show. Talk to you later.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Peace out.
All right, now. All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. 480 on the line. I'm speaker to.
This is Brandon.
All righty. I got a little bit of feedback in the background.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching you. That's why. It's your show.
Yeah, can you turn it off for me, please?
Yep, I muted it. How's it going?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Not much. I've been watching you now for, I'm going to say 2-3 years, I think. I was basically called in to just ask a question. Similar questions are answered, but I was just wanting to know about okay. What do you think the chances are of Trump actually, succeeding, running a successful campaign in 2024?
It's a coin toss, really. It's hard to tell because it's a lot of different factors that kind of go into it. This case, if the case goes anywhere, that's going to be a factor in it. Who they run against them, that goes into it. If they run Joe Biden, who's pretty much on his last leg, can he really put two words together? If they run Gavin Newsom, if you have DeSantis in the mix, how is that going to happen? So it all depends on all the other factors that go into it. So it's going to be a toss-up, a coin toss.
I'd rather have Biden again than Gavin Newsom in there. Oh, my goodness, what a nightmare that might be. Oof.
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish.
You're right.
Yeah.
I know. He's no good. I know. Oh, my goodness. It's just been a nightmare since this administration's taken over, as you know. Oh, my goodness. Now you've got, it seems like this LGBTQIZ, whatever thing going on is just blown up just in the past month. I mean, just exploding. They're like going all for nothing. Like, whoa.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely has gone crazy.
It's terrifying. I mean, this small, tiny group has that much power. I don't think so. I think that's a distraction of some sort. The wool ain't pulled over my eyes completely. I could be wrong, but those people in extreme positions of power, Soros and all these crazies up there, pretty much devil incarnates, in my opinion. I don't think they really care anything about that kind of stuff. I really think they like distractions. They like to keep people divided. They like, just fattening their bank accounts. And I think that's really what it's all about. It's about power. That's, of course, the core of everything, in my opinion. But
of course.
Yeah, it is. It's all about power. It's a permanent political class. I'm definitely to the right. I certainly won't ever lean the left, as far as I know, unless the polls switch somehow, like completely. But yeah, it's just scary. I don't know what's going to happen in the next election cycle or whatever, next few years, but it's definitely not looking good. And I'm certainly worried about, this BRICS thing. I'm not flipping out completely because I know how powerful the dollar still is, but that could lead to massive problems, and I worry about that. But yeah, what do you think the chances are? I know Trump can't stop the BRICS thing from going on, but do you think it's possible that the dollar could perhaps make a strong comeback?
It all depends.
Or Trump,
it all depends.
Okay.
It depends on what happens with the economy. It's kind of hard to tell, because if things are done externally that we can't control, that's going to be hard to really, it's going to be hard to kind of counteract. All we could do is just try to have a strong economy here and reduce some of this inflation we got going on, but it's going to be kind of hard.
I'm over here in Tempe, Arizona, right next to Phoenix, and gas is $5 a gallon right now.
That's crazy.
That's insane. But it is. Anyway, it's good to talk to you. Actually, talk to you. That's pretty cool. I've been watching you for a while, and I've never called in before, and I just thought, let's see if I can actually call in and get a hold of you. And what do you know? All right. Well, it was good chatting, and I appreciate your input, and I'll keep on watching.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 843, you don't mind who I'm speaking to. All right, 843 hung up. I don't know what happened. Let's go to some more here. Let's go to 440 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Not too much. I'm just being amazed on how things have turned like lately in the past few years with this alphabet soup thing. I would have never thought it would get this far, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's gone very far in a very short period of time. I feel like just a few years ago, maybe about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, if somebody was to tell me that we'd be this far down the road, I may not be able to believe it, but here we are.
I think I've called like 2 shows ago, and I think I've said about it again. The word gay used to mean cheerful. If you ever watch the Flintstones, at the end they say, "Come to Bedrock, we'll have a gay old time." I don't think they meant have a homosexual old time or something like that. But it's like regarding those trans activists that cornered that swimmer, to me personally, they look more like possessed demons than anything else. This is unbelievable. Like, I think everything that womanhood had to stand for just went down the drain, And I used to tell somebody, regardless of what you do, no matter how many surgeries, hormones, whatever, blah, 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 biology will never change. You will always be an XY. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. If you ever look at one of those anthropology classes, you will see that women have wider pelvic bones to be able to give birth. That's why, like 1,000 years from now, if you were to uncover a body, like a skeletal remains, they would be able to tell 100% sure if that was a man or a woman. That's how it works. So regardless of what you do, your bones can't lie.
Exactly. Very, very simple. Like if you dig up a they, them 1,000 years from now and the skeleton's still intact, you'd be able to see if it's male or female.
Exactly. And the thing that kind of like bothers me the most, these college professors, and I'm saying this very loosely and in quotes, just by having like a paper that says I got a degree in sociology or women's studies, they feel like they're entitled to their opinion to be like over everybody's. They have the absolute truth. What they say goes just because they have a PhD. That doesn't mean jack. That doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry, but again, going back to the bones thing, 1,000 years from now, anthropologists could say for real, like even those guys at Pompeii where the volcano hit, they could say with certainty, these bones belong to a woman, to a man, that's easy peasy. So regardless of what you do, your bones won't lie and your chromosomes won't lie. That's all I had to say. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Great call. Great call. Calling line speaker to 337.
Yo, am I really on? It's your fellow Liberty lover. What's going on? How you doing?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Oh, not much. I wanted to recap on a couple callers. So I'm a former. I've been canceled. All this to the young lady that called in that wants to be a journalist, who also wants to be a politician. As someone that traveled the country for 2 years, going to rallies and showing the truth because of the Smith Modernization Act and the lies that has happened to this country and the propaganda and brainwashing. Start your channel, do something, but try not to be too polarizing where they can cancel you or delete all your videos or all your footage. What's going on right now, the book burning, the digital book burning is the true fight, because we rely on them for our information. And when they control it, they definitely control us. But I just admire you for what you're doing as someone that used to try to inspire people and do things like this. Your reach is more valuable than any of the cash apps, any of the super chats. What you're doing for this country and this time in life is super amazing. So on behalf of everybody that's watching, we thank you for that. So anybody that's out there that might be going through the hard times, it always gets better. And, America's amazing. It's definitely worth fighting for. I got 4 boys. I showed them if you truly believe in it, stand up and fight for it. So I have faith for this country, but keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. I'm like so excited. My voice is shaking. So, you know what I mean? It's been a long time since I've been on YouTube or try to share a message. So just keep doing the amazing thing. It's awesome. Trump 2024. Hopefully he gets to DeSantis, and DeSantis is president 2 more terms after that. But everyone have a wonderful night. Believe in this country. God will bless us, and stand up and make that fight. God bless everybody. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. You guys are fantastic. Thank y'all for being here. Let's go to 843 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Legacy X. I've been following you for a few years now. I live in Florence, South Carolina. There's a few things.
Hold on 1 second.
I really have to
hold on 1 second.
Okay.
We have some noise in the background. Is the stream on in the background, or what's going on?
I'm actually standing outside. It's raining pretty heavy here, but
okay.
I'll walk back in.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. We've got close to like 4 inches so far. A lot of people are having trouble with their. Can you hear me now?
I heard you well. Yes.
Okay, great. But yeah, there's a few things I'd like to touch on. The COVID was the beginning of the end for the United States. And that was China's goal. They want to basically replace the United States as the sole superpower. A lot of the things, that are going on with the plants and, the power grids, them buying up farmland, things like that. They're working from the inside out. COVID actually just blew their cover, because I started noticing things whenever it first started. They allowed their people to travel for Lunar New Year, even though they knew that there was this new virus out. They jailed the doctor that was the whistleblower. And then I saw a lot of videos of people that were showing actually what was going on, and they had police come to their home and made them delete the videos. And I'm like, what's going on? Then they started kicking out journalists, and didn't allow who to come over there and investigate, and all this stuff. It was a big mess. Secondly, I can understand, where Putin's coming from. You have a lot of countries around you, that aren't too, privy to you anyway. And then all of a sudden, they're trying to join, NATO. I can understand where he's coming from. Zelensky, all I can say is, I'm a Jew. I believe, certain things, and just because he's Jewish does not meet our requirements for me. There's something about him I do not like. And I've never seen a president in my life, whether they were at war with us or whether they were at war with someone else or whatever, get on an award show in the United States and pander and, want money. I've never seen it in my whole entire life. Thirdly, believe it or not, I used to be a Democrat. Whenever Trump ran, that opened my eyes to a lot of things that the government has been doing to me. Like I said, I've been a Democrat for most of my life. My very first vote was for Bill Clinton back in 1996. And I feel like the government has done nothing for me while I was voting Democrat. Just as soon as I started voting Republican, all these doors and stuff started opening up for me because I actually seen what the government was doing. Trump is the only president in my lifetime I've ever seen that made promises that he actually kept. And I mean, I feel like the left is very afraid of him. They are afraid of what he might do or say because he has, I would say, a tremendous amount of dirt on a lot of them that were up there in D.C. But yeah, I just wanted to say hello to you, ABL, and I love your show. A lot of 99.9% of the things and stuff you say is spot on, exactly how I feel.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
No problem. You guys have a good night. I'm gonna drop off and listen for a few minutes.
All righty, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, good call. Shout out to the caller. Let's go to 832. You don't lie. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how you doing, ABL? This is Jen from Houston. How you doing, brother?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Everything is good. I just only got one thing to say. I will always believe in America and American people until every single gun is taken. As long as we have a firearm, let's keep fighting. Good night, ABL.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, straight to the point, huh? It's like, hey, we got to, keep them guns and keep on rocking. I'm with that 100%. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Do not prefer to call. It's all good. Okay, and we got quite a few calls on that. I'm going to try to get to you guys in a moment. Yeah, Zelensky, that guy, man. From the beginning, I never did like Zelensky too much. All righty. Yeah, great call. Amazing call. All right. But let me get to this next call here. Let's go to 918. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABO? It's JB Scottman from Oklahoma. How you doing, buddy?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Oh, there's been quite a bit happening in the last week or two, for me anyway. I wanted to call and kind of share a personal story and sort of a PSA, if you don't mind.
All righty.
All right, I'll keep it as short as possible. A little over a week ago, I was at my mom's place, and I had a seizure out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I don't remember a thing about it. The first thing I remember is just waking up in the ICU at the hospital. And so for like 2 or 3 days, I didn't know what was going on or where I was at. It was horrible. You don't want to have one. They are not fun. And I also fell on my face and got me a nice black eye and a big cut on my head. So, and here's the point. It's really all my fault because I do drink a lot, and my drink is whiskey. You know, I like beer, but I like whiskey, and I've been drinking it every day for many years. But then it took me it took me 43 years of age to finally have it hit me and let me know, like, hey, you can't keep doing this anymore. So that's something that, people, I mean, it's rare that you have from alcohol withdrawals. That's a very small percentage you get them. So that means, it's serious when that happens to you. And so I was in the hospital for 5 days, recovered, and I got to say, shout out to the nurses. The nurses are great. I mean, those ladies, they're right there for you, anything you need. I have so much respect for them. So now I'm back home, and I went shopping yesterday, and I'm buying more fruits and vegetables, and not buying any kind of frozen pizza, or frozen fried food. No, I'm cutting all that out, So that's just something to think about for anyone else out there, that, I mean, and like I said, it took me 43 years for this to happen. So, but I'm better now. I'm at home and I'm getting to listen to your show. So, oh yeah, definitely cutting down the roots.
Yeah, definitely do that, man, for sure. You don't want to be, because you could have landed on your head the wrong way. You wouldn't be here right now, man. So you got to stay rocking, stay alive.
Exactly. I was lucky where it happened. Yeah. Anyway, that's my personal story for the last couple of weeks, and just maybe anyone out there listening can kind of take something from it.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
All right, man. All right, good night, dude.
I know. Yeah, man, you gotta stay around, man. You don't want to have that alcohol. Like anything you do, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to be preachy or nothing weird like that, but I say, whatever you do, you want to enjoy it. You don't want it to control you. Because you can mess around and die like that, and you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Are you enjoying yourself, or are you an addict just trying to maintain yourself? And there's a big difference between the two things. All right, let's go to 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Anthony. It's Cigar Box. I see you're doing very well.
Yes, indeed. How about yourself?
Oh, not bad, I guess. I was hoping to comment on the letter people and what's going on up here. I think that the big stink that they're trying to pull is out in British Columbia. It's really bad for these protests that they're having, in particular. So the morons who are all dressed in black, the Antifa boys, they're all out, and they are attacking people who are protesting, and the cops aren't doing anything about that. And in a way to make themselves look good, as they will go at people, they'll start singing things like, give peace a chance and all you need is love and all that crap, which reminds me of the protests that were going on all over the U.S. with them saying, oh, it's a fiery but peaceful protest, with buildings going up in flames. And so apparently there was another protest, and the cops actually had to do something to help out the protesters. So I think what they want to do is get the focus away from themselves before it gets a little too large by putting this in place, and then nobody with a right mind can go down and protest it.
Okay, I see. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know some context behind the whole situation. I see why they're trying to do something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy anyway, but now knowing the context, now I understand why they're crazy.
Yeah, well, it's just I'm trying to put it together. I was completely annoyed. I don't know if many people have touched on this. I don't remember hearing you say it, but when that trans guy shot up the school, people were out there like protesting or whatever they were supposedly doing, and they were holding up 7 fingers to try and say that there was 7 victims.
Yes.
Like including that jerk.
Right. Yeah. That was over in Tennessee, Nashville. Yep. That's what they were doing.
Yeah. And why weren't the news like all over this and stinking on the guy, and somebody like Joy Reid freaking out because as soon as that guy drove up to Buffalo, like immediately he was a white supremacist, and they're tarring every white person in the country as, the reason that he's doing it and stuff like that. Like, come on, pick a lane. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. They shot up a school, and there's something wrong in their head. You have to have something wrong in your head. When they come out and their defense is that the person was mentally ill, well, you have got to be mentally ill to go and willingly murder somebody.
Right. And like for no reason, innocent person, like that act right there is mentally ill, but that can't be the excuse and just leave it there. No, they did that. They did it intentionally. They got their guns and they carried the act out. You can't just say, oh, mental illness.
No. And they were sort of defending it on a lot of these TV shows, I noticed, by saying, oh, well, they've got, persecuted when they were at the school, being a Christian school and everything. And I thought, let's just say that argument is holding a little bit of water, and they shot those 3 people there. What did the children do to cause any problems with this guy? Why did he shoot 3 children? Like, what was their act in making him go crazy? Like this, I'm sorry, but they're not winning any awards for this. Like this is really bad.
I agree, 100%.
I don't know. Anyway, I guess I better let you go. There's not much time left. So thanks for taking my call. It's been good talking to you again, Anthony.
Likewise, man. Thank you for your call. Appreciate you calling.
Thank you.
Shout out to Cigar Box. It's been a while. But yeah, that whole thing with the shooter in Nashville, they're defending this person because of the whole LGBT thing. It's politics. It's all politics. They cover certain shootings certain ways to fit a narrative. There's always people that get shot, people that get hurt, people that get killed. What do we cover with more fervor versus other things? There could be 2 school shootings. It could be the same number of deaths, the same method of death, the same everything. But we're going to cover this one different than that one. Why? Oh, because in one, the shooter was a young white male. The other one was a young transgender person. The same act, the same thing, the same weapons. We're covering it differently with the young white male, white supremacists, terrorists, all this and that, blame the NRA, blah, 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 blah. But then when it comes to the trans person, oh, they're a victim. They were bullied. They're mentally ill. Anybody trying to hear that anymore? Like, we're tired of the gaslighting at this point. Okay, let's go to 949, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Speaking to Justin from Orange County in California.
All righty, man. What's going on?
My question for you, it goes, I've been on mute for a while, so you may have spoke on it already, but my question is, if Gavin Newsom runs for presidency or whatever, who steps in his place in California? Does Brian Dawley get a better run? What say you? What goes on in California?
That's a good question. I'm not really familiar with California local politics, so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you about that. Now, I guess maybe the question that could be asked of me is there a more liberal person? Is there a more conservative person? It's kind of reminded me of the whole Lori Lightfoot question. I don't understand you talking about a mayor versus a governor, but it's similar because people celebrated when Lori Lightfoot was out of office, and then there was going to be a new sheriff in town, but then the person they elected was just the same as her, if not worse. So it's like, was it even a victory? Same thing with Gavin Newsom. I think California is so far gone that whoever they put in there will be a clone of him. Somebody that would do the same thing that he does. Somebody put in there by the same Nancy Pelosi power cabal that's already right there. So I think it'd just be the same thing. It'd be a lateral move at best. Whoever they put in there, it won't be much of a difference from Gavin Newsom.
I see. Do you, and just another one, do you, as it stood, if I'm not mistaken, Gavin Newsom had a 10-to-1 budget spending compared to Brian Dawley, but Brian Dawley still pulled 40%. Do we see that number? Do we see a growth in the Republicans? There's a lot of time between the next election, but do we see some growth in that number, or do we see more Californians moving to other red states?
They're going to move. I mean, because I think a lot of people that live in California that move away who still kind of vote liberal, they're kind of brainwashed, and they might have just grown up in the place, and they have tradition. Because when Californians move, not all Californians, but generally when they move to other places, red states, they tend to vote blue. I've seen it happen. Arizona, that's why Kerry Lake had problems. They're trying to do that in Texas right now. Austin is no more than the California enclave at this point. They're coming to Tennessee. They're going to Nashville, Davidson County, voting blue. It's the same thing everywhere. They do the same. Idaho's becoming the same way. So I think they're going to continue to move. And then you have the newcomers. They're going to be voting blue as well. A lot of these foreigners and everything else. It's just a bad situation in California. You get the tech hub right there. Typically, you're going to have a bunch of leftists live right there. So it's a mess, really, unfortunately.
Does the California Republicans stay and hold? I mean, what are they? They're not doing much, but I'm in Orange County. We voted Republican, but what else is there? Do we stay here? Do we put our power somewhere else? What do you think?
I mean, if I was a California Republican, I would leave. Because I don't really see the problem getting better. Like, you can have certain little strongholds in the state, but look at the entire state. I mean, look at your state income tax, 12.3%. Like, what are we even doing? Try living out there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like, like if come to a place that's better, because if you can't actually change the laws of the state, the policies of the state, you can only do so much in your local area. You may have a little stronghold, Orange County or whatever, but is that better than moving to a Tennessee as a true conservative and enjoying that environment? It's all up to the person that is living there, really.
I hear you. Well, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Good night.
Like, I understand the thought process. I understand the reasoning. Like, I get it. It's like, hey, do we just stay here and fight for our state? Do we try to be conservative in California and hold our ground? I get the sentiment behind what he's saying, but it's like, what can you do? Because San Fran, Bay Area, tech bubble is so big. Los Angeles, so big. I mean, the state, quite frankly, is too big. If the state was broken up, it'd be better for you guys to live out on the left coast. So much power is concentrated in the big cities that it's hard for anybody to kind of breathe in that situation. You know, those taxes, man, 12.3% state income tax, my Lord. I mean, what in the world? It's just ridiculous. Where we have zero state income tax and zero state income tax in Tennessee, zero in Texas, zero in Florida. What are you even doing? How can you live? And then on top of the high taxes, you have a high cost of living in general, high gas prices, high everything. I don't understand how you even survive. I guess maybe the salaries are better, but good grief. I mean, it's a whole big mess. 773 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, thanks for getting to my call. It's your retired Chicago police officer friend. I wanted to make a bigger point, ABL. You know, what's happening with our economy, the money, and everything else, in our cities. This is the way I think about it. Just like show business, you have the actors that are known by the majority of people, and the directors and the people that are forefront in the spotlight. Then there is a whole thing behind the scenes of people that make it happen and profit from it that you don't know their names, but they make it happen. There's so many, it's like an iceberg. The actors are at the tip of the iceberg, and underneath the water is all the workings. That's the way I like to look at governments. You have the faces, like the actors, of the politicians and everything else. In world governments, like presidencies, and in local governments, in cities and other places around the world. And then underneath, like the iceberg, or like, in show business, you have this big workings underneath that. And I believe that those elites, you can call them the elites, you can call them the Illuminati, it's the people that profit from that in the background. And they're playing a chess game here. They're trying to keep what they have and get the other people to work for them. Some people make millions of dollars themselves, and they're honest, hardworking corporations and businesses. But there is that big part of the iceberg underneath that wants to control the rest of the world. That's how they make their multi-billions of dollars, ABL. And now they're scared because of the internet. That's why I love history, because you see, things can't be judged. They have to be judged within their time. And the internet has now made people more aware of what's going on in other places around the world. And they're scared that we're going to turn against them. So they want to try to control you. So they're playing a chess game. How can I control these people? I'll control their money, or I'll control their, health, like with the vaccine and things like that. They're playing this chess game where they're controlling people, and they don't want to be exposed because there's more of us than them. And if the light is brought upon them and you see that they're there, suddenly their lives are in jeopardy. Their livelihoods are in jeopardy. And you have to look at it on a big scale like that, because that's why things are out of control. We all need to have a practical view of what's really happening here. Anyway, that's my way more than 2 cents this week, ABL. And thanks for listening to me. And I appreciate talking to you. I appreciate your show. I really do. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Great call. And that will be a wrap for the show. Thank y'all for being here tonight. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. Could not do it without you. I'll be back live again on Wednesday. I'm here every day, pretty much throughout the week, putting out pre-recorded content, as you guys know. And this is a podcast, if you didn't know. This will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, etc. Link will be in the description box, or go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. It should pop right up. And if you're on those audio streaming platforms, please give me a 5-star rating, a review, whatever you can. I most certainly appreciate you for that. Thank you to everybody that's been here watching, retweeting, super chatting. whatever you're doing. I thank you. Thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls nice and in check. Couldn't do it without you. And we got some super chats right here. I'm going to read those right quick. Then wrap it on up, put the bowl clean on top. Let's go back to where I left off. Thank you to No White Guilt, who says, Happy Easter, AB. Happy Easter to you as well. All right. Easter Sunday is tomorrow. And thank you to Boy Cachino, who says, hey, ABL, yeah, this caller is legit. And that is no shh. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox, who says, can't see me, girl. First thought, she's a cutie. Yeah, that's right. Talking about Angel Reese. Absolutely. You know, I thought about that too. Angel Reese, you know, nice and pretty and no bulldagger energy. A lot of times you see female basketball players, you get, you know, real masculine. It's like they look like they're trying to be men. But she is, you know, enjoying being a girl, which is refreshing to see, ain't it? I mean, girls that enjoy being girls. Imagine that. Same thing with boys wanting to be boys, rather than boys and girls confused about who they are. But different story. I digress. I'm getting triggered already. Thank you to Brian Mater, who says, keep up the good work, ABL. Greetings from Wisconsin. U.S. flag, thumbs up. Trump 2024. Thank you to Jairus M. I know I said your name wrong. I'm sorry, boss. Jairus M, who says, God bless ABL. Please don't give in to CBDCs, y'all. It'd be much worse than we could imagine. Fight tooth and nail until you can't fight anymore before you let them implement that. Thank you to Bina, who says, best audience on the internet, with the heart emoji. Thank you to JR Smat, who became an ABL supporter. Thank you to F Ranger Xbox, who says, Zelensky in the heels, dance video, vomit alert. No thanks, I'll pass. Thank you to Nick Corio, who says, hello, my dear friend, with a dear emoji. I heard gun laws in the Weimar Republic worked well for them when a certain Austrian man took power in the 1930s. Interesting. Thank you to Bina, who says, HB 2435, Gold Standard Restoration Act, proposed by Mooney, West Virginia, Biggs, Arizona, and Gozar, Arizona. What are your thoughts, ABL? That ship done been sailed many years ago. It ain't gonna happen no more. It's not enough gold to even be pegged to the currency. It don't make no sense. Like, there's so much paper money, fake money, debt. It don't make no sense at this point. Thank you to Moses of God, who says the whole trans thing is a manufactured way to manipulate and bully people into eventually accepting the P letter with the alphabet people. Love your work, ABL. Million subs a long time ago. Right on, man. Thank you for that. Appreciate you, boss. Thank you to Jagger Really, who says, great show tonight, boss. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you to Zedach's King Sword for being a member, 41 months member. I thank you, man. Appreciate you. With the beer mug emojis and the explosion emoji. Thank you to Jagular Really, who says, you do what you do. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. But that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.